we resorting to comedy hour now? Obviously. Gravity. La La Land is reserved for special people that double speak, that say open is closed, closed is open. La La Land, we are in La La Land. Gravity. Obviously. La La Land, La La Land, La La Land, we are in La La Land. Gravity, gravity, obviously.
Are you ready? Call your mama, call your papa, call your friends. The festivities are about to begin. Boom!
John Hansen is God. Also, we are quick flash there. I am in a cult. I'm not in a cult. I'm not in a cult. I'm not in a cult. I'm in a cult. I'm in a cult. Shout out to everybody watching. This is Sunday Mass, the Daily Boom live on this Sunday, October 23rd of 2022. And I am happy to be here from Florida to the YouTube universe. We are here, we are live, we are now. Who is in the top? Who is on top? On top of, above it all, in top of the, who is on top? Is it God? Is it I am in the top? You are? Are you? Hey, thank you. Squeaky Earth. Or who is in the top? I like turtles. Please vote. The poll is open right now. Let's hit the Squeaky Earth. Hey, our visitors. Caca, caca. Oh, tricky. Look about nice. This is he's from Kanchu. For those who know who Kanchu is, from Kanchu. This is part of a costume that I don't have. This is what I have from the costume. Just this device right here. I don't have the costume. I have a pharaoh. How do you call pharaoh? Pharaon? A pharaoh costume. I got a pharaoh costume. The whole thing. I'm gonna wear it in the next few days. It's almost Halloween. It's time. I'm not gonna use it once. I'm gonna use it like 3 times at least. I'm gonna be here full on. It's true. I'm gonna be a pharaoh just right here. I gotta put a green screen. I gotta put me in the background. So that's coming in the next few days. Squeaky Earth. That was it, right? Squeaky Earth, full of frogs. Very nice. Thank you very much. Now, there goes all the shilling. Hit like on this video if you're watching this live or recorded. Please, thumbs up. Share the show. You can copy a link. If you copy a link you can paste it in Discord servers around and social media and all the good places. People will come, new people will come, new voices will be heard, new letters will be read. That's me, Doofus right there. Thank you. And yeah, we'll have more variety, a new take onto this topic. We can pick on anybody's brain. So if you are new and watching this right now today, for real, click on Discord and join us. If somebody new come in, and if other a lot of people, hopefully a lot of people will join the voice chat. If people that have participated come in, and also new people come in, we will give the opportunity to the new people to speak up. We'll talk to them a little bit, and it will be, it's no debate, it's no rush, it's no pressure. Yeah, to talk, just to talk and try to understand each other. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming in, man. There's a PayPal link, very important. A PayPal link is pinned in the YouTube chat box above, highlighted in blue. If you have deleted that, because you got an option, 3 dots, and you can delete that poll on your end, the comment. Go to the description box under this video, and you will find a PayPal link on how to support the channel. Also, membership, there's a link for Discord and all them good stuff. There's also a super chat that runs underneath the YouTube chat box. You can support the channel, and if the video is up and uploaded and recorded, you're watching this recorded, you say like, man, I wish I was there to give Jose a super chat. I don't do PayPals. Well, it's rather simple. You go onto the buttons underneath the video, and you got a super thanks feature. I think it's in the shape of a heart. So make sure to click that, and that super thanks acts like a super chat. It will just be posted in the comment section. If you super chat with the super thanks option in the comment section, your comments will be pinned. And if there's already a comment pinned and somebody want to give me more money, give me more money, and the best, funniest, and more relevant comment will be pinned. And I thank you very much, everybody, for you guys' support in the past and always. Who they have over here? Real Cygnus. Wait, I gotta put a little kind of music in the background. Soft music. I don't even know if that can be heard, but there it is. Real Cygnus is here. Kuso PR1 is in the house. Fred Bailey. Doc C. What's up? Balanced Truth. Citizen 9. Paul responsibly. Martin. That's a nice. I had a nice ring to it. Not the most exciting I've had done, but it's okay. Shout out to Martin. Farmer's Boy in the house. Extra J. Somebody is in God level. John Hansen. Good to see you, John. What up? Thank you for your support, man. The Random Explorer. What's up? Extra J. Gary Wybenga. Racer XYZ. XYZ. Ters B. I got questions. Mr. Malort. Mr. Malort is here. That's good. The broken trifold. The broken trifold is here. Good to see you. Boom. Very good. Jim's mind in the house. For the background music, if it's overwhelming or too loud, let me know, guys. I'm counting on you because if I try to listen to the watch page, that audio will also be fed through the screen share that I'm sharing the music on. It will be a big mess. So I need to know if, in the level of annoyingness or you can barely, you don't even, pay attention to it. I think it's good. Very low. Let's open the Daily Boom Discord server over here. The voice chat. We are in the Discord server, Daily Boom. The text chat is the Daily Boom Uncensored. Click on that room and come over now. Okay. I think we're ready to go. Can barely hear the music. Very good. But it's there, I think. You can barely hear it, but it's there, right, farmers? The music?
Correct. It's when you're talking, you can't really hear it. It's only just there in the background. Excuse me.
Right. Nice feeling, very faint.
It certainly adds a certain mellowness to the proceedings. Yes, it's quite. Yeah, particularly for a Sunday.
Yeah, very churchy type of thing. Yeah, that's what I was going for.
Nice and relaxing. Yes. Well, it is here on a very wet and miserable Sunday evening.
Yeah, turn up the hearing aid. Maybe you're getting too old, farmers.
I don't need hearing aids.
Oh, I do. I might need some, man. I hear half of the shit that I'm spoken to.
Well, it's unfortunately that's one of the things that happens when you get older, as we are, of course, all doing.
That's unfortunate. I don't want to go through that. Now, somebody that can tell us by experience what happens when you get old is Turs. Turs, what's up?
Yeah, how you doing, guys? Well, it's Sunday. It's been very wet up here as well. I've just returned from hospital where my mum's been in for 10 weeks, but I've just been told I'm probably going to get her back home in like 2 days. So I'm happy about that,
Very cool. Congrats, man. Yeah, that's nice. Welcome to I Got Questions to Discord. If you are not in Discord server, click on find the link. I'll share a link. I'll share a solid link on the YouTube chat for Discord. We got a super chat by Leo. $5 super chat. Thank you very much, Leo. I appreciate that. He say, Happy Frogtopia Day from NASA. If you don't believe my appeal to Farmer's Boy authority. Happy Frogtopia Day. Thank you, Leo.
Is it Frogtopia Day? I guess it must be.
It's wet enough to be Frogtopia Day.
Yeah, tell me about it. I don't think it's really stopped raining all day today. It's just, varied in intensity. We did have some thunderstorms rattling around earlier on, but I think they've buggered off again.
Yep. There was some rain a few days ago here. Nothing else, man. It's been dry. It's been cold, but less cold. I still got my little boom sweatshirt on, just on the safe side, because it's not as hot as I'm comfortable,
Well, the forecast is pretty crappy all week, but it's supposed to brighten up on Tuesday, which is quite handy because apparently, apparently we're getting a partial solar eclipse in the UK and parts of Europe on Tuesday. So if we're very lucky, we might not actually have complete cloud cover. We might be able to see something.
Yeah, I haven't seen the sky all day today. It's just been grey clouds all goddamn day and just, pouring down rain or drizzle, all day.
But yeah, it's Tuesday.
Remember, guys, we are breaking our toys. We are kind of breaking our toys. And if we want to play and have a big laugh, we've been pummeling the flirts a little too hard lately. So remember, they don't want to be played with their feelings. They don't want their feelings to get hurt.
Yeah, I remember being at school, and you would have some fun with people, and then they would like throw the toys at the pram kind of thing, and say, "I'm had enough," because you know, if you cajole people and you think you're being funny, but they're taking it serious, it's sort of like they give up, and they don't want to play anymore.
Sorry, I'm playing with the, how do you call the stick with the like a skull face, like it's a baton, a baton,
A baton,
slide.
yeah.
What is it?
Uh,
What is the
I'm
word?
not quite sure what you'd call that.
Yeah,
What
I
it's
would
for.
call that a bird cosh.
No, that I don't know what the word is. Never heard of it. I know I heard
In
a word, but I don't know which one is it.
Ireland, we
Yeah.
call it oily.
Sorry, Citizen Nine. I was I was shouting at the motorbike racing this morning. I seem to have done me throat a disservice.
All right, let's shout out to Leo again for another $5 super chat. Leo says, NASA just informed me of a joke. Uh-oh. Do we want to know what joke NASA informed Leo? Yes, here we go. How much does a hipster weigh? And Instagram.
Oh, I like that. That's good. I like that. Well done, Leo.
Shout out to Leo.
Sorry, well done. Well done, NASA.
Yeah. I keep getting it. It's so annoying. When you got a newer number and you get all kinds of messages and questions from fucking scammers and push messages and shit.
I am getting my emails getting absolutely clobbered with them at the moment, and you keep saying junk mail. Don't show me this. And half an hour later, there's another one exactly the same piece of crap. It's God.
Have you been scammed? Have you been scammed, Turs, ever? You farmers?
Somebody in some shop somewhere used my debit card. And they were taking out hundreds of pounds at a time. Because I actually got a warning from my bank, and I went and checked my account on my mobile phone, and as I'm watching it, another chunk, they were taking out 250 quid at a time, and they'd already taken £1,000, and another 250 quid disappeared, and it's like, what the fuck's going on? I sort of phoned the bank and had the usual, having to wait 15 minutes to talk to somebody, and as I'm on the phone and watching my account, there goes another £250. It's like, somebody please answer the fucking phone. But we got there in the end, and I spoke to somebody. I said, for fuck's sake, do something about it. It's disappearing. As I watch my account, there's money being taken out of my account. Mm-hmm. And they put a hold on it, and the money never actually went away. I never lost it. But as you're watching your account online, and by the minute, money's disappearing from it. So yeah, I've had that happen. That was the last time, and to actually watch it in real time and watch somebody somewhere trying to steal your money.
Well, I've only been scammed like that once, and it was back in the early mid 80s. I went to prison for 30 months, and I gave my brother access to my bank account while I was in prison. And when I came out, it was empty. But as his family, there's nothing I could really do about that except to hate him for a couple of years,
To be a pharaoh, how do you say that word, pharaoh? Is there a
pharaoh? Yes.
Pharaoh. To be a pharaoh, do you have to be clean shaved? Did they have beard back in the day?
I
am shaming for now being no pharaoh.
I don't know how accurate it is, but there is a popular image of them, not having an awful lot of hair, shall we say.
Yeah, I think some of the comedy stuff I've seen is they used to have like a fake beard, like you see on the statues, with a strap going around their heads. What it looked like they had like a braided beard.
I have a new message that I just realized that, like Lel say, for a $5 super chat, Lel says, to prove the NASA lies is that NASA is in charge of all car warranties. And that is a fact. And NASA must be in charge of all the scam calls.
Oh, I get
NASA
them all the time.
Lies, yeah.
I get those, we're calling about the warranty on your, white goods, your washing machine, your double dryer, your fridge. And I'm like, no, I don't warranty anything. When it breaks down, I just buy another one. It's cheaper.
Is that true, farmers? Something about the nectar points. What the hell is a nectar point?
Nectar points. I don't actually have a nectar card. They're like a reward card, so that if you buy things, you get points depending on how much you spend, and you can then redeem those points for stuff.
Yeah.
But I've never had a nectar card. I've never done it.
It's like if you're
I think it's still quite
frequent
popular over
flyer. Isn't it? Frequent flyer?
It's like air miles. If you fly a lot, you rack up air miles, and eventually you've got enough air miles to fly for free. It's a reward system. I mean, all the major supermarkets over here do it. Tesco have their club card. Every time you buy something and you scan your card, you get rewarded with points. You can then use those points to buy other things, or buy cinema tickets, or Christ knows, all sorts.
Yeah, I don't get the point about it. You'd have to have, because of all the different people that do it, almost every store, Tesco, they've all got their own stuff. So, I mean, you'd have to have a card for every store and set them up and remember what you've got. And,
quite.
Yeah, I just think, how to use these stores, what's the point?
They've all got reward cards, and to be honest, if you had a reward card at every store you shopped at, your wallet would be ridiculous.
It's a bit like cutting coupons, I mean, who sits about cutting coupons all day and taking them to the store that they're for? I can possibly organise that,
I'll tell you what, some people do. If you actually put your mind to it and you're determined to do it, I mean, some people have saved themselves an absolute fortune by all the coupons. They go to the store and the stuff's reduced in price because they're trying to flog it off because it's past its sell-by date, that sort of thing.
I got two questions. Hold on. Can you eat the nectar points, like if you're hungry and you don't want to go nowhere?
No.
No.
And you have a sweet overdose, overflow with nectar, Yes?
No, it's kind of actually, you've got to save them up by using...
Second question. That's a no, right? Second question. Can you fuck him, the nectar points?
No. You might be able to turn them in a place like Australia where, they've made prostitution legal. You might be able to use your nectar points there. I'm not sure.
Doofus, what do you think? Is that fair, clarification question from me? Can you eat him and can you fuck him,
I don't even want to touch that question.
Hey, you see, there's a lot of facial hair, at least chin. Look at that. That's one of the representations of a pharaoh.
Apparently, it tended to be sort of the priesthood and the higher classes, like the nobility, the royal families, and that. They tended to much like a lot of modern women do. They'd shave everything off, I think, including their eyebrows, and then paint them back on.
But that's a long, goatee, like the chin hair.
Yeah, as I say, there is depictions where there's straps, and I think some people had a fake beard strapped onto their head,
Yeah.
It became an indication of class and status. If you were shaving everything off, you were, up there with them.
Gonna have to buy me a weave, like a cheapest weave in a second thrift store or something, so I can put some like a long strip in my
Well, of
machine.
course, ironically, they'd go to all the effort of removing all their body hair, including on their head, and then wear wigs.
Yeah, unless I shave, yeah, whatever hair is on my head, I shave it and I put it in a long strip of tape, and then I put it in my machine. Yeah,
Yeah, but if you think about it, back in the day when you would have had like knits and all that sort of thing, body lice and all that. If you shaved all your body hair, they had nothing to cling on to, and then you oiled your body and scraped it off like the Romans did, that would be very cleanly, you know what I mean? So it probably helped you to avoid, nits and bugs and shit,
but
I think
this is how you should shave. If you decide to shave
I
your
think it also
body.
coincided with the newfound ability to be able to make things that metal tools that were sharp enough that you could actually shave with. This is sort of Bronze Age, or sort of the going from stone to Bronze Age. They've suddenly found out that they can actually produce metal tools that hold a decent enough edge on them that they can shave and do things with. So it becomes a status symbol.
Yeah, but
Look at me. I'm rich enough that I can shave all my hair off.
Have you ever seen how sharp like flint is when you nap it? I mean, that is like sharper than even some steel razors,
Oh yeah. But if you tend to be in an area where flint is available, which of course it isn't global, is it?
Well, that's why there was a huge trade from places that had, nappable stone, to other places in Europe. I mean, people have been trading for 10,000 years around Europe.
Oh yeah.
I reckon it was like there was a situation somewhere in history where maybe there were people that were a little more hirsute, and they wanted to trade with another tribe or people that weren't so much hirsute.
Mm-hmm.
And their traditions kind of intertwined and became like okay, I need to stay here. Like I don't know, a kind of ethnicity I can think of is like the Japanese. They're not very hairy. No, they don't grow very massive beards. You think of like somebody from the West going to Japan and trying to make trade deals and trying to get their kind of, I don't know, their technology back to the West and stuff. There's that kind of crossing of basically like I don't know the word, but the kind of like differences between their men and the men in the West, and their whether how much hair they had, how much less hair they had, and that becomes entwined in the culture. And yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think that's true. 'Cause if you look back in some of the Japanese and Chinese, old texts and stuff, they had drawings of people with beards and moustaches in them. So maybe not everybody, I mean, obviously, not everybody's the same. Some people had facial hair and some people didn't, and maybe that's why shaving and all that came about, so people didn't look different from others, that sort of.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's when the Europeans went into Asia, and they wanted to fit. Maybe some of them wanted to fit in. They decided, like, oh well, I'll shave my beard this way, or I'll get rid of my mustache, and I'll do this and that.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at ancient, Chinese and Japanese hairstyles, they used to shave parts of their head and have like, they would have like hair hair at the back braided, but no, they would shave the sides of the head and stuff like that. So I mean, they obviously knew about shaving. So you understand? I don't think they needed the Westerners to come there and teach them about shaving. You know.
This music isn't going well today,
you
man.
kind of you kind of pointing out my point though. It's kind of the same as the Vikings. They had their unique hairstyles, and I know we have these ideas of hairstyles with Vikings that were like they all wear these like mohawks and all this kind of shit. Like, but that wasn't the case. They shaved part of their hair in a certain way so they could know that the guy was a Viking. I'm a Viking. You're a Viking. It was no different from like
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Gangs today or
So
the
it
history
would
of
be
gangs, you know.
cultural to denote you're from a certain area or a certain
Yeah.
tribe or something. Yeah.
All right, guys, I got some information here. Information. Kenneth Schultz is informing us that there is the 3/4 solar eclipse on the 25th of October. Somebody want to keep reading this? I don't do good with. I'm time zone illiterate. I don't even know how to read this.
Well, that's what I was on about a little while ago, Tuesday, the 25th. There's going to be a partial solar eclipse. The further north you are, the better. It's approximately 11 o'clock Denmark time, so that's UTC +2, at about 55 degrees north. So unfortunately, me being down at, I think I'm down at about 52, I won't see quite so much of the solar eclipse.
Is UTC family of ETC?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what
UTC is what's used to be known as GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. It's now the universal time.
Oh, right.
I want it to be ETC as etc.
Well, that's something else completely, unfortunately.
But ETC is etc., right?
ETC is an abbreviation of etc.
Etc.
So this could be the Danish version of as you.
What was that doofus?
Yeah, you want to say etc.
That's yeah. That actually makes a little sense. Yeah.
I don't understand that UTC ×2 in Denmark because I mean I'm in Scotland and Denmark's like 1 hour ahead of me, so shouldn't that be UTC +1? I mean, I don't understand this.
And what are you at the moment in Scotland, Terse? Are you at UTC?
No, we are +1 and we're going to be moving it back once, but it should be UTC +1, not +2. I see what you mean. Yeah, so it's +2 because we're in summertime. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I get confused with all this summertime, wintertime stuff. You know what I mean? I don't know why we have it. Why the hell are we change it to make it darker? You know what I mean? In the evening now. I don't understand it.
It's a man-made concept, Terse. Can you grasp that?
Yeah, but
think about time zones are a man-made concept. What do you think about that?
I just don't understand why they still got it. It was a thing they did back in the Second World War, and I don't know why they still have it. You know, it's like VAT. Why the hell we still have VAT? That was a temporary thing after the Second World War. We still got that. You know what I mean? It's like, does my nut and all this stuff that people keep hanging on to, you know?
What do you think, Doofus? Does that make sense that time zones are a man-made concept? Am I just throwing things together?
Time zones are a completely political structure. Yes, they're a man-made concept.
There you go. I made that up, but it makes sense.
Right. You can have local solar noon is definitely not a man-made concept, but where the time zone boundaries are is 100% man-made. It's a complete just concept of the mind.
That makes sense. So the real time, if you want to tell the time, you just use the sun, you know, kind of.
I just use my watch.
If you didn't have a watch, if you know where the sun rises and sets, then you can tell at least a good estimate of what time is it on the sun, right? I
Okay,
mean, at
so
least not time, but how much time left of daylight, etc., etc.
Did you guys figure out where the failure is in that meme yet?
Let me
I
look
never
at it.
really looked at it.
In astronomy, an analemma is a diagram showing the position of the sun in the sky, as seen from a fixed location on Earth. At the same time, mean solar time as the position varies over the course of the year. That's the
varies.
analemma, yeah. Yeah, it varies.
Yeah, that
So
part.
next year,
That part is
next year it's not going to
100%
be like
correct.
this, right? Next year it's going to be slightly to the side or something, the analemma.
Yeah, that part at the beginning, that paragraph, that is 100% correct. All of that is fine.
It's shaped like an 8, with the lower part much larger than the upper one. Something that does not make sense on the globe, since the two hemispheres are the same size. But on the left, Earth makes perfect sense. But on the flat Earth, make perfect sense, they say. Since the southern or outer hemisphere is much larger than the northern inner hemisphere. Oh man.
There was a time when the French actually tried to kind of make base their time on a 10-hour clock, and they had 10 hours a day, 10 months a year, and everybody else was on the base 12 idea.
Did they have 100? Did they have 100 minutes in an hour or something?
Yes.
Tried
100
to.
minutes an hour, and they pretty much figured out it was not working when they were trying to trade with people that were on a different base. Like, it was like, hello, what's going on here? Like, they're like, yeah, you're alone. You're not figuring out what we're trading on, pretty much. Everything they tried to do was basically like base 10, I think.
All right. It's exercise time. Let me turn my camera on so I can
What? Who's exercising? Just you, I hope.
exercise. It's an exercise that we're gonna have going on here.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody there. All right. There was a comment on PayPal a few days ago after the show. I was off. I was not live, and I received a $5 PayPal. Thank you, person who gave me $5 on PayPal. I appreciate that very much. And there's a note. He say, Jose, love the show. Can you ask a flat earther a question for me? Can they show with their finger the path of the sun from horizon to horizon during the day, and then show me that path with their finger how the sun sunsets in the west and rise in the east the next day? That is a beautiful comment. Thank you for your support, and I appreciate you telling. We're gonna use this tool as my finger. We're gonna use this tool as my finger right here, my hand. So right now is solar. Let's say it's solar noon, right? Gonna be pointing at the sun, pointing up right here. So the sun will be the higher point in the sky. Now we continue that path, and every hour we're gonna be pointing at the sun more and more and more until we reach that horizon. Is where we talked the other day? The sun, if I'm in the beach and there's nothing blocking, the sun appears to just reach a point where it's going to touch the water and it's going to disappear from the bottom up. So we don't see it anymore. What is happening? So right now we follow the sun and we are right there in the horizon. In a globe, this is what in reality, and in a globe, what going to happen? The sun continues to follow this path all the way down, and then There's gonna be a point that the sun, I'm pointing at the sun, is gonna be a point early in the morning tomorrow that the sun is gonna pop up from the horizon. So the sun pops up from the horizon and it's gonna look like it's appearing from the top down. It's appearing like peeping up, like a creep, like the sun, and then I will follow the path of the sun. Noon, sunset, all the way, sunrise. That's what happened in reality. In flat Earth, I want to know what happened with the sun when it reaches the horizon, because you don't think that the sun goes down around, right, under us, like right? So I guess the sun reaches a point in there, right, slightly above the horizon, and then it's gonna do this path, and it's gonna do this path slightly above the horizon, and then we got a sunrise again. So it's gonna do this path. It's gonna go up, reach, oh, and up again. Or there's another choice for flat Earth. Is the sun gonna be there when it reaches the horizon? It's gonna go right around this path, pointing at the other side, behind, and then it pop up, and we're gonna reach this point, and it's gonna come right behind me over here, and it's gonna pop up. Please tell me. Thank you very much, person who gave me the $5 on PayPal that I forgot. I don't know. You didn't type your YouTube name. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. That was my demonstration and rant for the day. Thoughts, questions, comments, concerns?
I'd love to see what a flat earther says about that, because if you're on the equator, the sun will basically go mostly right over your head from east to west. But if you're south or north, like as far as where I am in Scotland, it actually forms a curve where it rises, goes above your head, goes over, but it's not right above your head. It's a little bit, south of you, and it actually changes. The trajectory changes depending on the time of year, where it can be a little further north, a little bit further south as it arcs across the sky. But it arcs across the sky. It doesn't go right over your head. You know what I mean? So how do the flat earthers explain that?
Farmers, is there any
Yes.
other way, another path of the sun?
No. Every explanation I've heard from flat earthers as to what's happening to the sun just doesn't comport with what we see. The sun rises and sets because we're on a rotating planet. And that's why you can predict, once it's set below the horizon, you know where it's going to come up again, because as you've just demonstrated, you can. And I believe Wolfie did this with his camera and his setup. You can track the sun through 24 hours, and it spends half its time pointing at the ground. Then it comes up the other
Gary,
side again.
Gary Webengas here. I don't know if you're able to speak. Your thoughts on that, my demonstration, live in camera right now. Okay. Balanced truths. Do you agree with my explanation of the sun thing around, right? But never going under. Balanced truths. Do you think the sun is going, like the first example, just around and around, all the way down, and then it come up? Or what do you think? I like to see that, because we need to be pointing. Like, remember, your body, your eyes are going to point. The finger, the eyes is going to point the path of the sun all the way along the day. Doofus, what do you think? Is there any other but light is magic and we don't know what's doing?
Yeah, I don't want to go there. I mean, I'm happy looking at the path itself and making a few observations. No matter what time of year it is, all year long, the sun appears to follow a circular path in a plane that is inclined from your vertical by your latitude. Everywhere on Earth, this is true, and that doesn't make sense on a flat Earth.
The most damaging thing for flat earthers is, how come in the summer in the north, it never goes over your head. It just goes around the edge of the earth. And in the south, in its summer, it does the same. And in the winter in the north, you don't see the sun for 6 months. And in the south, for 6 months, you don't see the sun. It doesn't never go over your head. So how can that work?
We got one new person. Hello, are you new? I got questions. Yeah, we have spoken before, but you are new because it's the first time that you're here. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hi guys, hi Jose. I just want to say something about the comment the guy let you in on the email and the explanation you got, and I just want to say that in concave Earth, cellular Earth model, what we see, the path of the sun over the sky, it's perfectly explainable.
You want to quickly like tell us? You want to quickly give us a roundup, walkthrough?
Yeah. So in the concave Earth, it's like the hollow Earth, but we are inside. So because of the light is bending, we are not aware that we are inside. So the effect of the bending light upward is that we are on outside of the Earth. So the sun being inside, so the path is the same as on the heliocentric model. So let's say we are on the equinox, just past 23 September, and we are on the equator. So we got the sun rising from one horizon and going straight up vertical, passing just by the azimuth, and then going down. So if you're inside the Earth and you got the sun just going round on the equator line, so you will see the same, right? So in the flat Earth model, so at least on the equinox, you can see this.
When you say flat Earth model, I think we imagine the same, right? Like the AE map, like that one, the PISA model, I guess, because we don't have any other flat Earth model, right?
Yeah, maybe.
But that's what we can imagine when we talk about a flat Earth model. We're thinking about something physical, like the North Pole in the center and the continents going out, Antarctica surrounding it. That's what we think when we think flat Earth, right?
Yeah, well, there is more than one flat Earth model, because the first one was perfect, because on the first flat Earth model, the sun was going beneath the Earth, right? But as the people get civilized and get technology, so now we know you are in states, and maybe you got day and I got night in Spain. So the second flat Earth model is with the sun going in round on top of the flat Earth model. So in the first flat Earth model, with the sun going underneath the Earth, this observation that the guy made will be fine. But we know now that meanwhile for somebody is night, for other people is day on Earth. So
Question, comments I got a question. Let's take it easy. We're back and forward, conversation. Engage with him.
Right. When I've had a few conversations with a few concave earthers, and I've been curious as to what mechanism causes the light to bend in the opposite direction that we know the atmosphere would cause it to bend.
well, the refractions make light bending downward, so that is a fact. But the bending upward that I'm saying, I don't know what could cause it, but I got just some theories. One of them, the simple one, is that the gravity, the force that pull us down, accelerate all the mass particle downward, and the light particle like photons accelerate on the other side upwards. So it's just repelling the photons. So that could be the most simple explanation.
So you're proposing gravitation makes light do the opposite of what mass would do.
Yeah. Not just light, but all electromagnetic waves.
So can I just ask you something? You believe that maybe the Earth is a cup shape? Is that what you were saying?
Would still be spherical, just everybody would be on the inner surface of that spherical surface instead of the outer surface.
Yeah, but then where are all the planets if the Earth's a sphere around the sun? I mean, where could the planets fit in? You've got to have some outer boundary for the planets to be circling around the sun.
What he's saying is, is that everything that you see in the sky is actually inside that ball. We're looking up at it. Like, that's just that the way that we're looking at it is subject to light bending in a direction. We don't know why it would bend in that direction, but he's saying it would bend upward.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're a globe around a sphere inside a sphere, how can we send a probe out into that sphere and it keeps going for millions of miles and doesn't get out the other side and hit the other side of the Earth? You know what I mean? It's impossible. And what I'd like to say is that if it's a cup, why doesn't all the water find its level and fill the bottom of the cup with water and flood everything? So I don't understand what he's talking about, you know?
All right, let me jump in here and shout out. It's been an hour in the show. Shout out to everybody watching. Like, share, subscribe, hit give me money, PayPal, Super Chat. Join us on Discord. In Discord, we got a bunch of people. Doofus Manfred, Farmer's Boy, Gary Waibenga, I Got Questions, Larry Bro PS, Mr. Malord, Snesley Wipes, Space Pope, and Turs. Space Pope, do you ever entertain Concave as for an alternative?
Never.
What do you think about Concave Earthers?
I think that...
At all? Like crazy, right?
Yeah, I think concave Earth is dumber than flat Earth, to be honest.
Oh.
Yeah.
Shots fire, I got questions.
It makes even less sense than flat Earth. And that doesn't make any bloody sense to start with.
Yeah, it makes way less sense than flat Earth. Way less.
I agree.
I can understand, though, why people would want to be in concave Earth, because concave Earth has a model. Like, at least that's something they have that flat Earth doesn't have. So that would be a reason why a flat Earther would want to shift from flat Earth and get into concave Earth. But other than that, nothing on concave Earth works. It's still a joke.
Let me ask you a question about that. I got questions. Who do you get more resistance and fight from? The globe side, when saying the concave Earth doesn't work and is bullshit, or the flat Earth side, that they say the concave is bullshit, or people agree with you?
Both flat Earth and concavers both say that. No, sorry, both flat Earthers and globers both say that concave Earth is bullshit.
Right.
Both of them do, yeah.
And I think it has a lot to do with hollow Earth, concave Earth. I mean, pretty much kind of go hand to hand, right?
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's all based on Admiral Byrd's trip to the South Pole, where he discovered a secret area under the Earth. It's fiction, but some people think that it's fact. But it's
Right.
mainly based on that.
Yeah, that all spawned from F. Amadeo Giannini. And then people started discovering lost diaries that nobody has any chain of custody for. So, curious.
Yeah.
It is a compelling story, but it isn't. It doesn't have any fact or evidence to support it.
The irony is, of course, that in Antarctica there is an awful lot of hidden land. It's just that it's hidden under a couple of miles of ice.
I mean, if the authority and the education and everything we know is based on testimony, personal testimony, I don't know where would it be? You know, it would be so much spiritualism and bullshit, like supernatural bullshit going on. You know.
Yeah, and concave Earth is easily debunkable. In terms of the things that we discuss, like bottom-up obstruction, for example, flat Earth, there are explanations for how that would work on flat Earth. They could sort of jump around and say that there's an inversion in the density gradient that's causing sinking refraction. But if we try and consider how any of those things would work on concave Earth, they just wouldn't. Bottom-up obstruction doesn't work on concave Earth. We see stars above the horizon. That doesn't work on concave Earth either, because all the stars are in the center of the concave Earth model, yet we see stars above the horizon. How is that possible?
Well, if you were to take the position of concave Earther, and you're trying to invent as much upward refraction as necessary. Now, flat Earther actually, Brian Leakey's already doing this. He's trying to get 6 3/4 inches per mile squared of upward refraction. That would need to be 14 and some change inches per mile squared of upward refraction. If you did that, you could get something that approximates the appearance of a convex Earth that you're standing on the outside of. However, none of the angular relationships for things that you end up seeing in the sky across different declinations, those angular relationships would not hold true.
Right. Now, Brian Leakey made the same mistake that I did a couple of years ago when I thought that because temperature affects density, since the temperature decreases in our atmosphere with altitude, that would mean that it would be denser at higher altitudes. But that isn't true, though, because based on barometric pressure readings, we know for a fact that there are more molecules of atmosphere closer to the surface than they are at higher altitudes. So even if there is a temperature change, it wouldn't make the air denser because density is mass per unit volume. So if you're not increasing the amount of molecules per unit volume, you're not changing the density. Doesn't matter if you're changing the temperature.
Well, that's the thing as well. I mean, if the flat Earth is a cup and the South Pole is an ice wall all around the edge of that cup, it would be higher than any high mountain on Earth, and yet we still have the same barometric pressure most of the time at the surface of the South Pole than the top of the mountains, which the South Pole would be higher than if it was a cup. So that just negates any of the physics that you can talk about with a cup-shaped Earth,
Yeah, that's right. It's always denser at sea level than it is at higher altitudes. This is fact, but some people still want to argue that it isn't fact.
People enjoy that because we don't entertain that in here too often because there's not a lot of concave proponents. Where are them? You got questions. This question is for you. How many concave earthers are out there, and what are are not more like around on the inner webs talking to each other, you know? Where do they hide? Where are the concavers?
So we are not many concavers in Spanish language. We are about 4 or 5. In English, there was about, let's say, 100. I don't know if you know or remember Stephen. His channel
Stephen Christ.
was called Lord Stephen Christ. So they say he passed away about 6 months ago in prison.
Yeah.
And really, there are no many concavers.
Yeah, and you are more active in the Spanish community, right?
Yeah.
Right. I appreciate you being here, man, hanging out with us for a bit. There was a question earlier about the sun, because you spoke about the sun path on the equinox. You say, the question is, why are you only able to explain the sun path on the equinox? How about all the other days? Do they not exist? Is it everything treated as the equinox?
Yeah, no, on the concave Earth model, you can explain all the other days. But I just put the example of the equinox because it's more easy to imagine, to understand. Just imagine a sun going round inside Earth, because the sun, it's like orbiting the celestial sphere, which is on the center. So if you're on the equinox, you just have the sun going on top of you, exactly like on the heliocentric model. So on the other days, let's say on the not equinox, the solstice, right? So let's say on December, when the sun is going, it's seeing 24 hours from the South Pole.
What is that term? Somebody help me. That happens like twice a year or something. The 22nd of some month. There's a name for that, right? I don't know.
Solstice.
Solstice.
Equinox and solstice happen once a year or on Earth at different parts of the globe.
All right, yeah, I got questions. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, so imagine that you're on 22 December on the solstice, you are on the South Pole, and you will see the sun going round at 23 degrees from the horizon, right? Just going round and never set. So the same you will see on the concave Earth.
Do you agree? How about do you see the picture that I got on screen right now? I'm screen sharing on Discord. If you click on my name, watch stream, you should be able to see it. Images.
Let's click on your name. No, I'm clicking on your name, but I can't see it.
Click on my name and it says watch your stream or something like that. And I'm sharing it.
Your name is
Jose. H-O-S-A, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not able to see anything.
Okay, but can you go to the Daily Boom on Sensor, the text chat? That's where we are.
I'm with the phone.
Okay, yeah. It's all right anyway. Yeah, I got an illustration of that I seen Concave Earthers present. So please, everybody, if this might not be what he thinks, but at least it's an illustration in the background while we talk.
Yeah, I don't think this is what he's talking about, man.
This is what I was talking about. If you can see in the model, the stars are located in this circle in the center of the model. But when we see stars in our reality, we see them next to the horizon or above the horizon. So how does that work in this model? How can we look forward and not up and still see stars.
Yeah, I think that globe should be revolving sideways, not round and round towards us, but round and round, you know, but pointing down at the Earth at an angle of 20 degrees, and that would give the representation of the sun covering. See, the way it's going, it's just going round, and it's the whole Earth is going down.
Let him
angle,
answer,
right?
Ters. Let him answer. Hey, I got questions. Spacepo, you want to ask the question one more time? Like maybe try to make him see the issue.
All right. So, seems like the bending light, it's not easy to understand. So, the light is not bending as you can be able to be aware of it. So, bending light, it's like refraction, but in the opposite way, right? So the officialists, the heliocentric science, right? The official science says when you see the sun just rising from the horizon, when the sun it's just, you can see it, the full sun. Actually the sun, it's not over there, but it's just let's say half degree beneath the horizon, so you wouldn't be able to see it if the atmosphere wouldn't be there. So in that way, you can understand that the light is bending downward, so you are able to see the sun on a position when the sun is not there. So just like this, working the upward bending light, but on the opposite way. So when you see a star on the horizon, the star doesn't, it's not there. So the star, it's up, but the bending light make that you will see a half sphere concave sky, which is the representation of the half sphere you got on top, the convex half sphere of the celestial sphere where you just have upon your head. So
Right.
it's not easy. It's not easy to understand.
You said something. The model that you're referencing right now looks nothing like the one we're looking at. Can you see the model that Jose is presenting?
No, just let me check on YouTube, because
Yeah, it's being on YouTube. So
yeah, you can probably see it on YouTube because it's being shared on YouTube right now.
it's
But
looking, yeah.
you said something about a celestial hemisphere. That looks nothing like this model. And you also said that the sun goes beneath the horizon. How does the sun go beneath the horizon on a concave Earth?
Well, while he's trying to figure out what he's supposed to be seeing on YouTube.
I was seeing the image. That's correct? That's the concave Earth. So
Right.
once you understand, I'm not saying that this is the ultimate truth, because I don't know which is the truth. In science, you are never able to get the ultimate, the absolute truth. You just have theories and hypotheses, right? So once you understand how this theory, this model works, you understand that once the sun is turning on an angle that is more than 90 degrees, just the sun just appears that is going beneath the horizon, but is not. The sun is just turning around on the sky, but the bending light makes that you see what you see. So if you are able to imagine how the bending light works on the concave Earth, you will realize that you will see exactly what you see on the convex Earth sphere.
Right.
So there's no difference. You're not able to differences which model its truth
Well,
by observation. You have to make parallel experiments.
right. That is true.
I mentioned one way you can differentiate. Well, I mentioned one way you can differentiate earlier, but Babs, the other point I wanted to make sure that you were clear on. When he said the hemisphere of the celestial sphere, he's saying the entire celestial sphere is there, but from one location, the light is bending upward at the precise amount necessary for you to see half of that celestial sphere, the hemisphere that's closest to you.
Right. I
The
understand
whole
that
thing is
much.
there, but you only see that half.
Right. I get it now.
Right.
But then,
Yeah,
that
right.
that creates another issue, because based on what we know with how light bends in the atmosphere, majority of the observations we make are going to show looming refraction, just because of how the density gradient is arranged in our atmosphere. So for the sun to appear like it's going below the horizon as a result of refraction, it would mean that the density gradient would have to be inverted in order to facilitate sinking refraction. That's something that rarely happens. It's not supported by any experiments or documentation. So I'm interested to know how he's concluded that refraction works in the opposite way that we know that it does.
Now, the refraction works, the result of the refraction is that the light is bending downward. So let's say you got a 0.1 degrees of light bending downward, and then you got 0.7% the light bending upward. So the result will be 0.6 bending upward. So the refraction is there, and what makes it's just
Well, that isn't actually how refraction works, because when light bends down, things get loomed above the horizon. So you're saying that since the light is bending down, things are appearing lower. That's opposite to how refraction actually works.
And you're looking at the numbers at the numbers at refraction, and you just back engineering them. I mean, you just flipping them over and putting it, the opposite number.
It's it's a bit more complicated than that, Jose. Because if we're talking about on a convex Earth, we would be talking about
let's say
if
you
we're talking
got
about a convex Earth, we'd be talking about a rate of curvature that's 8 inches per mile squared.
Right,
And the amount of the amount of refraction would then be only about one. It's less than 2 inches per mile squared.
Right. Let it
Whereas
I got
in order to invert everything, the amount of refraction necessary for a concave Earth would be over 14 inches per mile squared, which is a lot more than the less than 2 inches per mile squared.
Yeah, more or less. So when you got a formula and a calculator like MetaBank, so you will see the geometrical
and the refraction
bending, right? For the the geometrical bend, the hidden for the geometrical Earth.
Okay.
Then you can put refraction. So the refraction, the only what it does, it's just put the radius of the Earth. It's bigger. So instead of 6,700, let's say it's 7,000 or 7,300 kilometers. So the refraction, the result of the refraction, it's just like the Earth being bigger. Right? So the same,
I understand that.
the same occur with the concave Earth. So the refraction is downward, right? It's a fact. But
But
if
I
there
can't-
is,
we got to talk about this. I got questions about the refraction, just bending the opposite side. This there's a pattern, and there's demonstrations. There's understanding of optics all our lives about the light, the way the light bends, and the refraction is the light bends towards the denser medium. You telling me that the denser medium now is in the opposite side above when this haven't? It doesn't check out. There's no evidence for the light bending the opposite side as for an average, like in the
He's
denser.
he's actually saying that it bends downwards, not upwards.
Well,
no.
I'll
I'm
make it
saying
more
that
clear because he's got refraction
saying-
doing what we expect. He's got
I'm
got
saying
refraction
that-
doing what we expect refraction to do.
Okay.
Can some of us have a word on
Hold
here?
on, hold on.
We've got-
Just let him answer. We'll tag him in too many, and then he needs to say something.
We don't expect downward refraction to make things appear lower. That's not what we expect.
Well, hold on, Babs. He's got refraction, as we know refraction, doing what we say refraction is doing. He's got an additional effect, changing the direction of light. That is not
Right.
refraction, but is changing the direction that light is taking, the path that it's
Exactly.
taking.
I don't know if you guys listened to
Hold
what
on,
you actually
hold on.
said.
There's he's got it. He understood. Well, let's not sidetrack him. So you got the light bending the opposite side. I got questions. Why, if this have not been demonstrated?
Well, because it's not. Let's say the Earth is concave, and all the governments, all the space agency hide it, right? Because it's impossible. They doesn't know it, right? So if they hide it, so they wouldn't make this experiment, right? So you, in order to see if the light is going straight or is bending
Dude,
upward.
we can do that
So-
in a fish tank or something in small scale. Anybody can do it. A lot of people have done it.
No.
Yeah, it's
no.
already been done.
Yes, it's been done. Many people do that.
No.
It's not the government. The government doesn't have to put a fish tank and see where the light bends and how it
No,
behaves.
you don't. You don't get it. But
All right,
because
I want to
look-
get it. I want to get it. Explain me then.
Well,
Okay, so
you'd be right
so
for
just-
refraction.
Hold on,
as
Dopey,
the
let him
refraction.
let him explain
Right,
it. to
Jose,
me.
you'd
We
be-
need to get it.
Yeah,
all
Jose,
right,
you'd
so
be correct.
Let's say,
Oh.
let's say you just shot a photon in the direction horizontally, right to the horizon. Doesn't touch the water, so goes straight. Is bending upward, doing like a circle, and is falling down on the celestial sphere, just on the. It's making like half of circle, right?
I mean, that's what you
so,
say, what you think it happened, but it doesn't
all
happen
right.
in real life.
So this photon is bending with a on a circle, which is the twice as small as the Earth, right? So that curvature, you're not able to see it on a fish tank because it's very low. It's a very low curvature. You're not able to see it.
Hey, do you guys understand what he's saying? Light doesn't go straight; it curves.
But
That's
what
what-
makes
that's
it
what
do
he's
that?
saying.
The light.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
What
Right,
what
he's talking about the
mechanism
light,
makes
but
light do that?
In this case, he's got two. In this case, he's got two separate effects. One is refraction, and it does exactly what we say it does. The other
Exactly.
is over a long range, light's going to be bending upward, not due to refraction, but due to some other effect. And we don't. He's saying we don't have an experiment
That's
to
not what he's
verify
saying.
this thing.
What he's saying is light
On a
comes out
small
of the
scale.
sun. Light comes out of the sun straight, and then when it gets a certain distance, it comes down onto the earth, and it does that at different distances. So you're seeing a different light from the sun because it comes down. After going straight,
We're
it comes
talking
down
in
to the
general.
earth, you know
The
what I mean?
actual laws of the behavior of light bending. That's what we're talking about right now. But it's not about the sun. It's about everyday life, everyday demonstration, observation, and test that have been done. It's not about what you see and the way you interpret it. It's what you can evidently show. Show with evidence.
Well, we have this thing called LIGO, which is 4 kilometers long, and they bounce the beam for, I don't know, 200 times. That makes it 800 kilometers, and they see none of this phenomena.
Not only that, how can I not see Asia from North America if North America's halfway up a wall and Asia's halfway up the wall at the other side of a curve? Why can I not just use a big telescope and see Asia from North America by
Yeah,
looking
like why
straight
can
up?
I see South America when I look up? I should be able to see South America just by looking up.
Looking up.
Not in his model. In I Got Questions' model, that doesn't follow. You shouldn't be able to use a telescope to see through to another side of.
In which case, telescopes, visual telescopes don't work then because the light bends and doesn't go down through the telescope.
That's kind of a straw man, actually. It's not that the telescope wouldn't work. It's just that you would be seeing something in a different position than its geometric location.
Yeah, what do you have to say about that? I Got Questions. Why can't we see other continents just by looking up on your model? What's preventing us from doing that?
Great question. I got questions. Come back to us, man.
At least I Got Questions has answers.
Yes. It's cool. I appreciate it. I know him for a few years now, many years. He was on
Yeah,
my show a few times.
Seems
back
like
in the day.
a nice guy.
Yeah. And he's very active in the Spanish community over there. And there's a few people, that make, short videos about him. Like we do with Gary Webinga and people like that. I got question is the Concave over there that they put hit pieces on him and shit.
Yeah. Well, the good thing about Concave Earth is at least it provides you with answers and it provides you with a model, unlike Flat Earth, which only has questions and no answers.
Right.
You've got to remember, though, that the flat Earth model that they're talking about, and the 4 corners of the Earth, it came from a time when people thought that the whole world was just the land around the Mediterranean. And they did believe there was 4 corners, and they did believe that Earth, sank and then came back up the other side. And Ra rode on a boat across the sky and then, sank and then came back up the other side because they thought that the Earth was just a square of land around the Mediterranean Sea. So that makes sense for that. But when we found out that it was South America, Indonesia, China, then it disappeared, Yeah.
Yeah, Flat Earth is more like Stone Age mythology because people have known that Earth is spherical for the longest time ever, even before space travel was possible. People knew that Earth had to be a globe just based on our observations. You don't even need to go that far. You just need to make local observations and question how those things would be possible on any other model other than a spherical model. Such examples as bottom-up obstruction, angles to Polaris, all of these things are evidence of a spherical Earth.
But remember that people don't know everything. Even today, there's people who have never seen a rhinoceros or a hippopotamus, and they might only be like 9, 10-year-old. They've never had any, exposure to zoology and stuff, and they're watching, animal planet stuff and seeing animals they've never seen before, and it's amazing to them. There's a lot of people who just never knew anything back in the day. They thought that their whole world was just the Mediterranean Sea.
Yeah, it's sad that some people today still think that if they haven't seen something, then it doesn't exist. Things only exist the only things that exist are the things that they've seen. I mean, how ridiculous is that?
There's even a guy who says that all the animals he sees, because he sees them on TV, but he's never been to a zoo or anything or touched one. He thinks that they're all animatronics and they're all
CGI.
Yeah, they're all fake animals.
Like,
yeah.
Zebras are painted horses. It's all just nonsense, really. It's a way of rejecting as much evidence as possible.
Oh, you know what? Talking about that, I opened Google Earth the other day, bro. I was just looking at it, I was like, hey, I discovered something. You know that people say that they see uh, fucking giant fish and giant snakes and shit like that, right? Like
Giant fish
gigantic
do
on,
exist, though.
but like gigantic on Earth, the size of continents and shit like that.
Oh
That's
yeah, I
like
know what you're talking. Yeah, that's also baloney.
that's baloney, right? So I was looking at Google Earth. I'm sharing the screen, and I was looking at this area over here, my Puerto Rico, and dude, this look like two dragons. They about to fight. Look, this is the mouth of
Oh,
one, the mouth
is
of
it
the
Roger
dragon,
time?
and then the body, one long leg down, and then the body in the back with long, like a lizard dragon, and then this is
Yeah,
another one coming in. Like they're gonna collide to fight. That's that level of size and bullshit pareidolia is what they do. You know.
yeah, it's just
Is
silly.
this the Roger Mudfossil University hour?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
It would appear, yes, it would appear to be. Yeah.
Because
But I
some
haven't heard. I
buildings.
haven't heard this one. Like these two look like these two look like big creatures to collide, like to fight, and they just froze in time, right? Sorry, God.
That's what I'm saying. You can't depend on everybody on earth knowing all the knowledge that you know, and you can't know all the knowledge they know. So this is the interesting thing with going to a pub and drinking with people and having a conversation about stuff and not taking it too serious. You can have a good laugh about stuff. You know what I mean?
Right. And I mean, the essence of knowledge is supposed to empower you. It's supposed to make you better. How does this knowledge empower us? How does knowing that continents look like dragons and monsters, how does this make our lives better in any way? It doesn't.
It doesn't.
Well, it makes for
people
good
playing
and
silly buggers.
happy. Sorry if I'm avoiding one.
No, I was just saying, it's just people playing silly buggers.
Yeah,
They
but
found their
that's
5 minutes of fame on YouTube.
Yeah, it's people that want to believe that Earth is this magical place when it really isn't.
They want to be special.
I can find shapes on anything. I can choose a segment like this, and I look and look until I found it's like a claw. Like look at the nails, claw marking, trying to escape from inside the earth or some bullshit, you know.
the big giant
Yeah.
crab hiding under the sand. You
Anything.
know.
There was I don't even know what it is. That one they said like it's a big fish and fighting. It's something around here, around this. I think somewhere.
No, it's
The
from the
act-
South America, I think.
How you doing, Jake? Not talked to you for a wee while, mate.
Hey, in regards to that, they want something magical thing. Not a week and a half ago, I think, about a week and a half ago, heard a flat earther say, what was it? They said that maybe wizards were definitely a thing, or maybe wizards were a thing in the past, but industry started taking over, and in order to sell energy, they had to put the wizards down or whatever.
Right?
It's that kind of need for
Hold
something.
on, hold on. What kind of wizard is that you can put him down?
Yeah, I don't know.
Not a very good one.
Not a good one, yeah.
But this is what I was
It's a mass-
saying.
It's a mass fire. Wait, it's a mass luchador. You see that? And then the it's an actual mask, like luchador. Nacho.
That's Rey Mysterio.
Right?
Oh, I
Oh.
thought you was drawing Deadpool for a minute there. Hmm.
No, but this is what I'm saying. I mean, you go into a pub and you talk people and they talk nonsense about what they believe or what they think could be possibly true. But at least in the conversation out with most normal people, you can, agree that you believe in gravity, you believe that there's astronauts, you believe in buses, you know what I mean? You believe in coal power stations and electricity and gravity and stuff like that. You know what I mean? You can at least agree with some people in the pub that all these things that we all socially agree exist, and then you can have a crazy discussion about theories at the bottom of their garden and stuff, and have a laugh. You know what I mean?
Well, when it comes to fringe topics, people tend to discuss them in private groups nowadays. because they figured out now that talking about things like concave Earth and flat Earth in public, you're just going to get laughed at. So the only people that are going to listen to you are people in discords like this, or in, you know, just flat Earth discords. That's the only place where you can talk about stuff like that and not get ridiculed or laughed at.
That I'm sure is why Bev changed his tune suddenly in 2019 and stopped openly declaring himself as a flat earther.
Yeah, well,
because I think he realised just how much scorn and derision he was getting for openly saying, yes, research flat Earth. Really?
yeah, but I mean, it makes him look more ridiculous when he pretends not to be a flat earther.
Well, therein lies the other problem, because you see, he thinks he's being clever.
But he's not, though, because he's basically, when you talk to him, he's going to define to you a flat Earth and say that he's not a flat earther. And he's going to prevent you from presenting any kind of diagrams to show the model that he's describing, which is why he looked really bad when he went against Red's rhetoric and actually had his model displayed, which was a flat Earth model. That's the reason he doesn't let people present anything on his show.
Oh, we've been winding him up in Twitter the last couple of days, and he actually posted, I think it was this morning, one of his tweets was, there is no curvature, so no curvature can be measured. Therefore, there is no curvature that can be measured. And this is a guy who says he's not a flat earther. I mean, he's almost going out of his way to say he's a flat earther without actually saying he's a flat earther. I mean, in that debate he had with what was it, Ryan, who'd never debated before. He said he didn't know what the shape of the Earth was. Water's level, so therefore the Earth can't be rotating. The sun just goes away. Straight from David Weiss, that was. I mean, you might as well just say, yeah, actually, you got me banged to rights, I'm a flat earther. But he just can't bring himself to say that anymore, because he spent the last 3+ years saying, no, I'm not a flat earther, the Earth isn't flat, I've got proof. Yes,
and
you're
he
talking
likes
about terrain.
He likes arguing, just for having an argument, but he doesn't want to take a chance on arguing on something that he can get caught. He must follow his script. If he tries to accept those terms and say, you know what, I'm just going to argue for the hell of it because it's fun, but he doesn't want to do that because he'd be put in ridicule. He doesn't know anything else but what he speaks about.
I mean, Nathan Oakley was the one that sort of coined this debate style that everybody uses nowadays, which is don't make any claims, just get the Globers to present you with evidence and reject all of the evidence that they present you with. Yeah. That is the modus operandi of flat Earth nowadays. And I mean, if you are a flat earther, why do you feel superior when your epistemology doesn't have any answers? You guys are always like, we don't know how anything works. We don't know what the sun is or what the moon is. How is that a superior position to be in than people that actually know what's going on?
Yeah, it's not about strategy. It's about having an honest conversation and trying to figure out, agree or disagree. Okay, but you don't have to make a plan or a set of rules in order to have this conversation. There's none of that. That's what dishonest look like.
The feigned ignorance that Bev does, that's complete dishonesty. The way he pretends that when he's being provided with information that it's the first time he's looking at it and he's never seen it before, it's feigned ignorance. It's dishonesty. And the people that follow him have got to be the dumbest people on earth for them to not see, him actually doing that, for them to not understand what the game is. They're the dumbest people ever.
I suspect that maybe some of them do, and they're just along for the ride and the shits and the giggles. But I think the vast majority of them, and I won't say any names, but they are just so dumb that yes, they can't see what's going on.
Well, I mean, the people on his panel, they get something out of it. They get to be on a show and grandstand and gloat about how they're the smartest people on earth. They get to get that out of it. But the people that are watching, what are they getting out of it? You're not getting paid to do this. You don't have a channel where you're getting super chats. What are you getting out of supporting that?
I'm going to say, do you give any more credence to people who believe in little people and fairies and Sasquatch and spirits and ghosts and all that? I mean, there's
you're talking about me.
hundreds of channels that do the same thing.
Other than Jose.
But I'm just saying, do you give any more credence to that?
way.
But I don't deride those people as much because they're not as much a danger to humanity with their bullshit, because these are all things that we start off believing as children and grow out of, you know what I mean?
Right.
There is no danger to humanity. It's danger to his son.
Yeah.
No, he's harmless.
No, he's not honest. He already fucked up his son's life. There's no social life because
Let's not talk about that.
Well,
let's not talk about that personal.
He
personal
did.
stuff.
He did.
Whatever
We
he
know.
did,
Yeah,
then we
but-
move on. We're not gonna talk about that. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so I'm asking, Bev, keep repeating that geometry
more
is coming. I
problematic.
was talking to us, thank you. He says geometry comes from geo, earth, and metry, measurement. Yet he doesn't use geometry to measure the earth.
No.
When has he ever measured anything?
Never.
But this is one of Bev's very clever tricks. He doesn't actually do anything.
Well, he did.
Anything.
Yeah.
No, if you look when they're out with their auto level and they're doing this, that, and the other, who's using the auto level? It's not Bev, because Bev's in the photos.
Bev's in the photos. Bev
He
set
doesn't- yes,
the
he-
auto,
and
he
he-
set the auto level and he put his phone on it.
Yeah, but he doesn't
Oh,
actually
yeah.
do anything.
Well, doesn't matter. He set up the
what-
scene.
Yeah, but in Bev's mind, you can't hold him accountable for anything because he hasn't done anything.
Well, in his mind, I can because he only objected one picture we have, and the other two he didn't object because it's his picture.
Bev throws DP under the bus.
I mean,
That was
DP,
mine. That was
Son, I mean anyone, he does. If they're not his photos, it's not his Discord server, they're not his T-shirts, nothing, because that way he can say, "Oh no, it weren't me. It's nothing to do with me."
Yeah, and he's also eliminated all methods of arriving at any conclusion. The autolites are only accurate to a certain specific distance. He claims that so that he doesn't have any way of doing anything. All methods are flawed.
Yep, and he confirmed water is water and level is level.
Yes,
Good job.
groundbreaking discoveries there from Bev. Yeah,
What did you say? What did you say? Confirmed?
They
Water is
confirmed water behaves like water and that level is level.
I don't think he did that.
Oh yeah, okay. He didn't personally do that. He had somebody else put up 2 water levels.
His test
that's it.
is stupid. It doesn't prove anything. If we're on a flat Earth, granted that the force of gravity is present, if we're on a flat Earth and I'm holding a water hose with water on it, and another guy is 3 kilometers away holding the other end of the water hose, it's going to do the same thing as it would on a globe, granted that the force of gravity is present. What Bev seems to think, and what most retards seem to think, is that if you're on a curved surface holding a water hose, the water is going to do this water slide thing where it goes down towards the bottom of the sphere. That's not how gravity works. None of these people understand how anything works.
Exactly. If you shoot water out of a hose, why doesn't it just keep going straight? Why does it fall to the earth? You know what I mean? I mean, the air above and below that water hose is exactly the same density. So why doesn't water just keep going in a straight line?
Yeah. Well, I was in Geos. I'm actually sort of kind of banned from there, but I was reading the chat yesterday, and this same similar question came up, where domesticated primate was being asked, why do things that have mass generally tend to move towards Earth? And all he could say is that things drop because you pick them up. That's not true. How many things fall as a result of being picked up? So many things fall on their own. And that still doesn't answer the question as to why everything that's made of mass is attracted towards Earth. Why does that happen?
Several asteroids fell without anyone ever picking them up.
Yeah, and leaves fall without anybody picking them up. Branches fall. Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't want to get
Um,
into complicated answers. They just want simplistic bullshit because that's all they can understand.
Hey Babs, there's this diagram I am posting now. It might help with that whole water levels, and he thinks the water should be flowing out thing. Oh,
Right.
my internet's going bad. There it goes.
Which chat did you post it in? Is it Daily Boom?
Daily Boom on
Uncensored.
something.
Daily
Okay.
Boom Uncensored.
I got it on my screen share also.
Yeah. This is exactly what I was talking about. Yeah. They don't understand that gravity makes everything on the surface of Earth be radial to the surface of Earth. They don't seem to understand that. They seem to think that down it works differently.
Yeah, because they're north of the equator centric, and they think that's the top. So they think that water should run down like on a ball. They pour water on a ball, you know what I mean?
Right.
They think water should run down the earth and fall off the bottom.
The
Yeah, I mean,
dumbest
it's
and the
stupid.
silliest, the dumbest and the silliest is they say like we have to test, right? We put a stick of 2 feet and we put it above the water, whatever, 1 foot sticking above the water, and we put it all the way anywhere that we put it is gonna be 1 foot above the water. If we connect these 2 points, it's gonna be a straight line or whatever, you know. They say, I mean, in the globe, the same elevation from the ground to the point that you want to measure is level all the way across in a globe. And if you want to think it's a flat straight line, it's on a flat earth, it works like that, but it also works on a globe. What do they say that it doesn't work on a globe? It's an elevation, the same thing on elevation. Now if you're going to measure it, one stick over here, then I'm going to go half a mile, walk away, the same stick I'm going to measure, yeah, it's keeping the same height. I can go like that for miles. But how do you know now if it's straight if you don't optically see it somehow? Because it's going to measure the same distance, the same height is going to measure. But how will you see if it's straight or curved? That's the question they don't want to address ever.
You have to compare those points with each other
Yes,
to know
they don't
whether
wanna address
there's
that.
any
Yeah, they-
deviation or
they
not.
need it.
And they never do any of that.
That's what they
This is a question that I asked. I got questions. If there is a cupped earth, how does the water stay up the sides and not just collect in the bottom of the boat? He
They're
never
gonna
answered
say
it.
some backwards ass gravity. I mean, it's
You know, I can sympathize for people that have never had this explained to them. But everybody that we engage with has seen this multiple times. So it's feigned ignorance. It's them just not wanting to understand, them pretending to be stupid. Or maybe they're just stupid.
Well, maybe they're just trying to be one of these people. I'm smart than everybody else, and I've worked something out that nobody else can. So I'm smart, you know. And, it's like the Dunning-Kruger thing, you know.
Demonstrating how you don't understand how math, physics, or geometry work doesn't make you look intelligent. It makes you look stupid. It's like, oh, hey, look, I don't understand how math works. Earth is flat. No, you're just an idiot.
But that's what I'm saying. They are stupid, and they think they're smarter than everybody else. Is what I'm saying. You know.
Right.
This is a perfect demonstration right here with this GIF. What I was explaining. Same height in a globe Earth. If you mark a point in this stick in the ruler, if you want to think it's flat, I mean, you can think of it, but when you look across with an optic device lining up all the points, is it going to look straight or is it going to look curved? That's the key.
This is
That's
math.
right, yeah.
This is math I learned at school when I was like 11, 12-year-old. You know what I mean? Come on.
Blue marble science already proved that the circle is straight with the elevation profile.
Well, I figured a way around that. The word game that they like to play. Montreal likes to play this game also, where he says, "You guys think that a straight line is a circle?" You know that stupid game that Montreal likes to play.
Yeah.
I just don't call it a straight line anymore. Just call it a geodesic, because that's what it is. It's a curved line that's moving in a straight direction. That way, they can't play that word game with you anymore.
No, but they will
Yeah,
still
it's
play it
confined to the
unless.
surface.
Hold on. The top of the beginning of the conversation, you must say level, the definition of level on a globe, versus your definition of level. Their definition of level, if it's straight, horizontal, flat, and our definition of level is, with forces. Forces are involved into
You're
the.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
And in the globe Earth definition, level is perpendicular to the force of gravity.
Yeah.
In the flat Earth epistemology, level is just a horizontal line with no forces involved.
Actually, it's more fun to ask them how they can get a horizontal without somehow referencing Plum.
Yeah, I did. Actually, in the first debate that I ever did on this show with Bev, I actually asked him that. I asked him, how did you determine level without using the force of gravity? Because all devices that are used to measure level, plumb bobs, bubble levels, all require a force for that to happen. But he doesn't seem to. Well, he does know that. He's just playing stupid.
Yeah, he used to argue in support of, for water levels specifically, about hydrostatic equilibrium. And I kept hammering home to him that, hydrostatic equilibrium requires an outside acceleration or gravitation in order to exist in the first place. Now he doesn't talk about hydrostatic equilibrium anymore.
I have a
Right.
Chihuahua. That's the most important
yes,
part
do.
of the game.
Hello.
I have one
Hello,
of the
little
Chihuahua.
doggy.
Yeah, dogs' lives are more important than flat Earth.
Hell yeah.
God, yes.
But this is what I don't get. They keep talking about straight lines here, and straight lines there. It's like, well, it depends on the distance. I mean, an airplane can fly in a straight line at 5,000 feet, and it ends up curving around the Earth. You know what I mean? Just like a satellite does at 100 miles. You know what I mean? Or 150 miles. It's still a straight line, but it's a straight line which becomes a curve because of the distance. But if you just want a straight line for 20 meters, that's going to look very, very straight. You're not going to see any kind of curve in that. But you know what I mean? It's like, obviously, the Earth is curved.
Yeah, and airplanes don't fly in straight lines. They don't.
If it's flying flat and level, it's basically a straight line.
No, they're
Well,
flat,
yeah,
yeah.
technically, it's going straight, but it's also being pulled down by
So
its weight.
yeah. It's a curved line, but it's a straight curved line. But if you want to measure 20 meters, it looks straight. If you want to measure 300,000 miles, it's not straight. It's going to be the same height above the Earth, but it's not going to be a straight line.
That's right, yeah. Well, if gravity wasn't present, it could fly perfectly straight and go in outer space. But since gravity is there, then that doesn't happen.
If gravity
Even
wasn't present,
flying,
there would be no pressure band for it to fly equal in either. It would all be the same pressure air everywhere. So if we change reality, all sorts of different things would change. If gravity didn't exist, the entire reality as we know it wouldn't be the way that it is.
Isn't that interesting how so many things are reliant on the force of gravity? Or so many things are as the result of the force of gravity?
not just the force of gravity, but also time. I mean, when you aim at something to send a rocket or a probe to visit a body that's traveling past Earth or something, you've got to calculate where it's going to be by the time your rocket gets there. You're not aiming at the object, you're aiming at where the object's going to be in like 3 months' time or whatever. So you're not aiming at the object, you're aiming for the space and, the space and space where it's going to be when you get there.
Right,
and a lot of flat earthers can't work this out. They can't calculate that, where you're moving to a place where nothing is, but when you get there, there's going to be something there that you want to be there and meet up with, and it's like they don't understand any of the physics that we have to calculate and all these things,
You're referring to rotation and how that shifts the position of objects.
Orbital mechanics, yeah.
Right. This is all scary stuff to look at in the flat Earth world. You can't look at any of this stuff. You can't
It's
look
like-
at information.
Space Pope, I got an exercise for you, right? I got a paradox. I invented a paradox.
Okay.
The moon paradox is called.
Let's hear it.
I got two cell phones, right? I got one recording. I put it against my window in the house, and I got the moon in the center of the screen, right? So we know that the moon, it follow a path, but if you can record the moon for 2 minutes, if you gotta sit, and the moon is gonna stay there, right, for 2 minutes.
Right.
So I'm gonna hit recording in this one phone. I'm gonna hit recording. Now my other phone, I hit recording and I point it at the moon and I'm just locked. I got my phone locked on my shoulder, my head turned in a specific way, and I start walking away. The moon is walking with me. And I see the houses in the background going past by. I'm almost running. The house is passing by, but the moon is above the houses walking with me. I go across the street running, and I turn around. I point at the moon, and I came back running. I'm still pointing the phone at the moon. The moon is following me. And then I reach my house, and I reach the phone, and I look at the phone, and the moon is right there in the phone. What am I going to see when I review the video that I left at home? What I'm expecting to see is the moon is on screen being recorded, and then when I walk away with the phone, the moon will leave the view, and then when I get back, the moon will come back to view because the moon was walking with me. Tell me about it. What do you think?
I don't agree with that. You're just witnessing the effects of parallax, where objects that are really far away appear to be moving with you, but they're really not. It's just because they're really far away. So you're not able to, move away from their proximity per se.
Have you ever
Chaik,
seen?
tell me about it. Chaik, tell me what you think about that.
I
About the
already
moon.
told you, you make a lot of assumptions, and Gary Wabenga did an experiment and he moved the camera, and the things don't stay in the frame.
Is the moon in the
Anymore.
same spot, or is the moon
No,
moving with me?
it will
Walking away with me?
move. It will move. Gary Wabenga tried it.
Have you never seen people who make these videos where they say, "Look, there's an airplane in the sky," and they walk through the park where they're filming it, and it looks like the airplane isn't moving. That's why the airplane is totally stationary in the sky.
But there
They're-
are some planes that appear
yeah.
to be stationary because they got a wind. If they go in 400 miles and there's a wind opposite way at 400 miles, the plane appears to be stationary, and that's
That's not what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm talking about. Any plane you see move in the sky, it's moving when you're stationary, but then if you start moving, walking fast, filming it, it looks like the plane is absolutely stationary in the sky.
And that's because you're moving. And what you're going to notice is that most of the videos you see of those stationary aircraft are taken from moving vehicles. So the only reason they look stationary is because they're moving. They're recorded from moving vehicles.
Yeah, and you've seen the helicopter where its props aren't moving because they've got
But
the
the frame rate.
camera. They've got the camera frame rate set to the exact same speed of the prop, so it looks like. And a helicopter's lifted off the ground without its blades moving. And it's like, yeah, we can all do these like tricks of the imagination. This is what magicians depend on. You not understanding what they're doing in front of you.
Right.
Oh man, so I don't have a paradox then. The moon stays, but it also moves.
You
No,
have you have the fridge light paradox. The light is always on, except when you close, even when you close the door.
Right. Though if you open the door just a little bit, there's no light. You can't see it still.
You can actually tape down the button on the inside the door. When the door presses the button, it switches the light off. You can tape that down and the light stays
Don't
on.
tell me. I don't want to know. I want it to be magic. Come on, man. Break that for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's up with all
Jose is
these-
being a
these facts?
true flat earther. He's refusing to be given information.
Come on, man. You're trying to tell
Hey,
me
boo-boo.
details. What the hell?
Hey, boo boo, the moon moves with you. It's the moon paradox.
Yeah, you can try it, Jose. Jose, the moon doesn't move with you. It's moving all around.
Hey, boo boo, squirm for me, boo boo.
Jose, can you pull up any elevation profile, sir, please? Elevation profile. All right, I got you. Yeah, I'm about to post it. I'll share it with you in it. I'm on it. Hold on, don't be giving it away.
Gary Wybanga was in here earlier. He ran away when I came in. You should come back, Gary. We got a lot of stuff to talk about.
I don't know. It could
I'd
be
have
our
thought-
combined power. He doesn't really like to be here when I'm here sometimes.
I'd have thought by now you should have covered everything with Gary and all the other guys, you know what I mean?
Aw. Got another team player?
Nah, me and Doofus scared him off.
Damn.
Gary's
And
not even a
sometimes
team.
I'm the one that is very asshole-ish.
Well, he just talks and doesn't let anybody else talk. That's the strategy. But when I'd like to see what he's gonna do when he actually has to answer questions.
Right.
Well, he's been avoiding doing that for quite a long time, isn't he?
Yeah, he just
Right,
wants
this
to
is for-
preach.
I got this for balance. Who was it? Balance Truth. This is your elevation profile. Please and thank you, and you're welcome. I just took
Oh,
this
that's
in real
fantastic.
time. This is my elevation profile. That cool?
No, flat
It's a
earthers
very
remind
elevated
me.
profile.
Very good, Doofus. Right? What you expected, as you
That
expected.
said elevated profile, not elevation profile.
Yeah, he say, can you pull up any elevation profile, sir? Please. I just pull up this image. I just pulled this elevation profile up. There you go. 100% address the point. 100%. There you go. Sorted.
I think a lot of the flat earthers, they really want to be pastors, but they don't have a church. You know what I mean? They want to have just their own wee room where it's just their parishioners who want to listen to them say things that they all agree with, and you know, they're happy with that.
Yeah, they want to be gurus, sort of like preaching to people, like the new age all-knowing gurus that know everything. That's what they want to be. They also want to be like talk show hosts, like the conspiracy theory talk show hosts, like Alex Jones or
Yeah.
like Coast to Coast with what's his face again, Art Bell. They want to be those types of people. Is what it seems like. That's
Yeah,
what their platforms look like.
They want to sell T-shirts and peak caps and bloody health pills and stuff. And they want some money and just have their little plan, their little.
Yeah, we're like these all-knowing gurus with the secret information that happens to be on the internet, but it's secret that nobody else knows about except us.
They should move to California with a bong and build a temple in a hill or something, you know.
Right. And I mean, I don't blame these guys if I was in that position. If I was like getting 200 views every time I did a live stream talking bullshit, it would get to my head, obviously. But I don't think I like morally, I don't think I would feel good lying to people just to make money. I don't think I could do it. But I can see why people would want to remain on that type of platform just because of the amount of attention they're getting. Most people don't get that much attention in the real world, but when they come on the internet, they're all these big superstars like Nathan Oakley or Whitsitt. They're not superstars in the real world, only on the internet.
Yeah, but how long have these people been around and they get 200 people in their YouTube or their whatever it is they're doing, their Discord, and it's like some people come on and within 3 months that they've got 100,000. You know, there's some people only been on YouTube for 6 or 7 months that they're hitting 1 million, people tuning in. I mean, that's properly building a
Yeah.
guys.
You know what I mean? It's like not 200. For
All right, guys,
the last 8 years, you know.
we're gonna try to take a few minutes, a little bit of entertaining education. Big Blue, you told me to show this image diagram as for an elevation profile. You want to explain me what is going on here? I really don't understand.
Well, Balanced Truth wanted to see an elevation profile, so there's one for LIGO. That's Hanford, the northwest tube at Hanford. Elevations above mean sea level are on the y-axis, and the distance across the length of the tube is on the x-axis. So there is an elevation profile. Notice it isn't very straight.
Appreciate it. There's a another slightly different diagram shared by Doofus. Is this about elevation profile or not? No, this isn't it.
Yes, it is.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, when you use an elevation profile, you assert that the shape of the Earth must be flat, totally ignoring the fact that the horizontal axis is plotted against a datum that isn't flat. This is in regards to Google Earth. When you pull up an elevation profile on Google Earth, the vertical axis is elevations, and the horizontal axis is the distance along a surface. And the reference surface is the reference is WGS 84, which is not a flat reference.
This reminds me, are we referring to that quantum eraser argument about Google Earth? Because one side of the bridge is the same elevation of the other side of the bridge, then Earth is flat. Is that where we're going with this?
Yeah. Balanced Truths is in that sort of rabbit hole.
Oh, yeah, I'm not even going to comment on him.
Yeah. Now,
but good news, Gary's here.
Quick comment for Babs, Space Pope. Space Pope, now, in this show, in this episode, actually in the other shows, we haven't mentioned that now we have sold our souls to the devil and the god Helios, and now we are all globers. Nobody have to say, I agree with being a glober or bowler or globe proponent or whatever. The thing is to understand at least the model, the arguments, the points, the science, and all the stuff. Is that fair? You don't have to say you're a glober or a bowler. You don't have to tell me you're a flat earther, but at least you, Space Pope specifically, you show to understand the where the issues are. Is that fair?
Well, yeah, it's fair. And I mean, that's the thing. Globers don't exist. There's only normal people and people that believe in conspiracy theories. This labeling only happens on the internet, but in the real world, there are only normal people and people that believe in conspiracy theories. This labeling is done to disparage people. It's to make you look ridiculous. Calling people ballers or globers is only done to ridicule you. It doesn't serve any purpose. And flat earthers, anybody that is in flat earth is someone that does not understand how the globe works. This is fact. The only reason they're flat earthers is that reason.
I've got a lot of friends who are well educated. They work in IT. They work in fixing jet engines and car engines. They work in ordinary shops on a till and stuff like that, and they don't give a balls about the shape of the earth.
Yeah, most people don't. Because most people tend to care about things that have a immediate impact on their lives. The shape of the earth doesn't. A lot of things we do in our lives don't require us to know what shape of the earth or what the shape of the earth is. We don't need to know any of that.
What if I start calling you normies, guys? Normies.
Yeah, well, yeah, normies. That's fine. I mean, and a lot of people that I know, I mean, they didn't know anything about space and all that. But see, whenever they hear, whenever it's publicised, it goes on BBC and they do like a 10-minute bit on, a new rocket went into space, they're like, I meet them in the pub, like, that's totally amazing, man. See that rocket, what energy that, because they work with engines and stuff, and they're amazed with the amount of power coming out. But they don't care about the shape of the earth.
Hold on. I want to ask, Blue, you went through this and it was so easy to understand, but I didn't understand it. Is the elevation on blue here, Blue?
That was just part of a different diagram. Hold on a second.
Yeah, the tube elevations above mean sea level are in blue.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the elevations of the pad above mean sea level. But if you now plot an 8-inch per mile squared type curvature opposed to that blue line, you get a second type of curve, which is inverted from the first one. And the average of those two forms the very straight line that LIGO is in reality. That green line is how the tube actually is. It's perfectly straight. But in order to be straight, the elevations cannot form a straight line because they're measured above mean sea level, a datum, which is in and of itself a curve. If that made any sense.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Some people will say it doesn't make sense in order to try and keep their belief in flat Earth going, though.
Oh yeah.
Now
they have to say
the most common question, the most common that people is gonna say is, "What the hell is that? Just a diagram. It's just a bunch of numbers and lines. It's
cartoons.
This is nothing. This means nothing to me, bro. This is just lines in a diagram."
Yeah.
You heard that before, man.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely.
But there is something there that tells you what's going on, and it just under what it says LIGO Hanford, there's some information there to tell you what the blue, orange, and green line is. And if you can understand any kind of three-dimensional math, you can see what's going on.
No, that's not good enough. You have to go to LIGO and measure it with a tape measure. You have to make a physical measurement.
And don't talk about the live streaming and 3 people recording from every angle, the cameras, and live in real time, everything.
Right.
And you have to have in advance manufactured a piece of metal to tighter tolerances than is possible to manufacture currently.
Yes. Always carry with you a vacuum and a bucket. Okay.
So you can put the vacuum in the bucket?
Yes, and then the LIGO in the bucket.
Maybe they should be using tape measures that are just balloons that you blow up, you know what I mean? So they don't bend, you know what I mean? With the weight at the end, you film the helium and mark them off in inches and then they would just float in the air, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, they don't even need to go to those lengths. If they were smart and they did any research, they would know about SLAC, which is a facility that houses a linear accelerator, which is one of the straightest objects on Earth. They can use that to make measurements, but they probably don't even know that exists.
I got the 2 categories we were looking for. 2 categories is the people that do not believe that the Earth is spherical, that do not believe, they just don't grasp that reality. That's one group of people, and then the rest of the people of the world. That's the only 2 groups. And now in the rest of the people of the world, there are secondary categories, the skeptics and this and that, which is normal. That's the normal life. We gotta be skeptic. I am skeptic. A lot of people jump and they go crazy and start tagging me as a flat earther. I don't care whatever they say. I'm just a normal person, skeptic of some things and not understanding well. Even if you got the higher education or the lowest of the education, you fall in the category of the normal people, just normies, unless you don't believe and you don't think that the Earth is a sphere.
And how do you go about determining whether something is real or not? Is it based on whether it makes you feel good, or is it based on how much evidence there is to support what's being claimed?
Evidence, and it's kind of a personal thing. It's a personal, not bias, a personal level of trust on the information given, maybe.
A level of trust, exactly.
Yeah, and it's personal. It varies from person to person. Not everybody uses the same logics and the same, points to reach to a conclusion.
No, everybody on the opposing side didn't get into conspiracies by using logic. That's not how they got into it. Yeah. But if, for example, if there isn't any evidence to support something you believe in, what valid reasons would you have to believe in that claim or that theory? Would you have any?
No. If I, I'm skeptic and question something specific. Black holes. Like I'm gonna throw out there black holes and the pictures and the images provided of black holes. I don't necessarily believe in black holes exist. There's not enough data. There's not enough information for me to accept that black holes exist. Now, might come in tomorrow or something, a breakthrough, and we got these great images, great measurements, some kind of a clip or some kind of a recording, something that I'm gonna say like, yeah, that seals the deal. I'm not asking for too much. I'm just asking for a little more. I don't think it's enough information there for people to arrive to these big conclusions of that's what's going on there. And I understand science that is going to probably evolve and it's going to say like, yeah, well, we thought it was black holes. It's still black holes, but the behavior of this, we're going to change a little bit. So I'm still, I don't know. I'm in that level that I need more information. I need more gravy.
Right. But now, okay, you're using your own personal logic to arrive at that conclusion. There are people that choose to believe that those things are real. We can't blame them because they have evidence to support it. Their photographs, videos, they have reasons to say that those things actually exist.
Yeah,
but in terms of
enough for them,
that is enough for them, right? But in terms of conspiracy theories, in particular, the ones that don't have any evidence, what logical reason do people have to believe that those things are true without any evidence? For example, the people that come in here that we have discussions with, we constantly ask them to provide us with evidence for their beliefs, which they don't have. So why do they have those beliefs if there's no evidence to support them? This is us trying to use logic now. And to be specific, why do flat earthers believe that Earth is flat? If there are no measurements of flat Earth, there's no data for flat Earth. What is your reason, Gary Wybanga, to think that Earth is flat when there's no supporting documentation or data?
I think it's religious more than anything, to be honest.
Gary is going to talk. It was for Gary. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's plenty of evidence for a flat Earth. You guys have had to change numerous of your arguments since I've been in this because your arguments were proved ridiculous, such as Coriolis effect, right, Blue, when flying? I know Blue's in here somewhere.
Well, wait, hold on a second. You said that there is evidence. What type of evidence do you have for flat Earth?
Well, I can show that boats become unresolvable bottom first because of angles rather than curvature. I have many videos showing the very thing.
Right.
We played some of them right here on Jose's show.
In your worldview, what is the horizon?
By the way, wait. By the way, can I make one thing here? I don't have a clue who you are. So you said earlier that I ran away from you when you came on, but I don't know who you are.
It seems that way when I come into VC and a lot of people leave. I've
never even seen you. Who are you? I don't recognize your voice.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a improvised little 5 or 10 minutes one-on-one. If it takes longer, I'm willing to hang out here. Gary Wybanga and Space Pope, go take the floor, gentlemen.
Well, I think you're being dishonest.
Now
because
I know who it was.
Can I speak now?
But I don't leave for anybody. I've debated all these guys. You're nothing special, trust me.
All right, that's great. And I think you're being
you don't have any argument.
It's a one-on-one, Chaiki.
Hold on.
It's a one-on-one, Chaiki.
I just pointed the lie.
Sorry,
Chaiki likes
Space Pope and Gary, go ahead.
Hi, Chaiki.
Right. So you're being dishonest, Gary, because most people in this community know who I am. Most people that come to this channel know who I am. You're being dishonest.
When's the last time you were on here? Because I don't remember you at all.
I haven't been on here for a while, but I used to be a regular.
Okay, well, I wasn't always on here in the past either. I've been on for a few years, so it must be a few years since you've been on.
Okay, great. You're a tough guy. You're the toughest guy in the world. You're not scared of me. You still haven't answered my question. What is the horizon?
That would be your claim for yourself because you said I ran away from you. Like you're the tough guy and I'm a little chicken. That's just not true.
No, you left because you don't like answering questions, just like you're not answering.
I answer questions all the time. I just was answering one of your questions just a second ago.
Okay, what is in your worldview? What is the horizon?
The horizon is simply an optical limit of the angle over the surface. When your angle becomes too acute, the information is compressed into a small space and it ends up looking like a line across your field of view. The ground is your entire bottom half of your field of view.
It's an optical limit. What do you mean by that particularly? Is
By
it
your
the limit
by
is
your visual angle to the surface, it becomes acute. It foreshortens the information in the distance. Because the farther out you look along the surface, the more acute the angle gets, to the point where you can no longer resolve any more information at that point, and it simply looks like a flat line.
Right. So if that's happening at the horizon, why is it that we can see objects beyond the horizon? If that
Because
in fact is the optical limit.
You can see things that are higher than the surface for a little farther. But the surface is going to be an average where let's say you're standing at the shore, you got 5-foot waves. The waves aren't really important. That's just making a point here. You're going to get to a point out in the distance where if you're close by, you can see over. Well, let's make them 3 foot so it's obvious you can see over them. So if you're close by, right? But in the distance, that angle over those waves becomes so narrow that you can no longer resolve a wave behind a wave in the foreground because there's not enough angle over the wave to see it and resolve it. And it's limited by your elevation over the surface. So obviously the higher you go, the further you can see information at that distance. But let's say those 3-foot waves, now you've got your smooth horizon in the distance. We're talking about everything looking with your natural eyes. So now let's say you have a 4-foot wave that's another 100 yards behind the 3-foot waves that you can no longer resolve as separate. Can you see that 4-foot wave? How about a 5-foot wave that's another mile further? Can you see that? Or has the angular size of that wave also become too small? And the angle over the 3-foot waves is just too narrow to see it in the distance.
It depends on what you're using to look at it. I can't answer.
No, it'll do that even with a binocular or a telescope, just further out because you can resolve more because you increase the focal length and decrease your field of view, so it's magnified in the image that you see in your telescope or binocular.
I don't think so because you're seeing a lot more using a telescope than you would be with your naked eyes.
Because you decrease your field of view, right?
And furthermore, you're describing what we see as if we see things in segments, like certain things reduce in size quicker than other things.
No, that's not what I said at all.
That's what you said. You said that. No, because I asked you, why is it that we can see objects beyond the horizon, the optical limit?
And I was explaining that to you. But you didn't answer the question. Can I see that 5-foot wave that's another mile beyond the 3-foot waves where I can no longer resolve them as separate? Can I see that 5-foot wave that's another mile further?
Can you see a 5-foot wave that's beyond a 3-foot
wave? My optical horizon, I'm basing it on just 3-foot waves, right? Okay. The angle over them waves is why you see the horizon, because when it gets too narrow and too acute, the angular space between them is too narrow to resolve the ones behind that anymore. Now, if you got a 5-foot wave that's a mile further, are you going to see that? No, you're not going to see it as separate.
Well, I'm having a hard time picturing what
the angular size has become too small
because it doesn't make any sense.
It makes perfect sense.
No,
I got videos that demonstrate how it works. It's so simple.
It makes absolutely no sense.
So that 5-foot wave, the equivalent, let's say it's 2 foot on the bottom of a boat. It takes another 2 feet off that bottom. That you can no longer. It's squished. We know everything compresses with distance, right?
So you're saying that 2 feet of the boat is going to compress quicker than the rest of the boat.
It doesn't have to be the whole boat. You're missing the point. You can take angles to every point of the boat visible to your eyes. I have a video.
Not how perspective works. When we move away from objects, they reduce uniformly. The bottom of objects don't get smaller faster than the top.
A 3-foot wave at 5 miles it will look smaller in your view than a 3-foot wave at 1 mile, right?
But can you repeat that again?
A 3-foot wave that's 3 miles away from you will look smaller in angular size than a 3-foot wave that's like a mile from you.
Of course.
Okay, so you do have things that get smaller in the distance. Now, your horizon is based on 3 miles away from you, right?
Right. Hold on, though.
Okay, so are you going to see the difference between a 3-foot wave at the horizon and a 5-foot wave that's a mile beyond it?
Well, first of all, that 3-foot wave is reducing in size uniformly. It's not
the 3-foot wave stays the same. Your horizon stays the same, but now the 5-foot wave is a mile behind that visual horizon of 3-foot waves. Can you see that 5-foot wave?
No, because it's behind the horizon.
It's higher. The 5-foot wave is actually higher than the 3-foot wave, so you have a problem.
No, we can't see things because they get obstructed by the horizon.
No. It would be a 5-foot wave, not a 3-foot wave. The 5-foot would be the one that's a mile past your horizon, where you average the 3-foot waves into a smooth line.
How would you see a 5-foot wave that's a mile further than the horizon?
You wouldn't. That's my point. And
yeah,
so that's you can equivalent that to the bottom of a ship.
You wouldn't see it because it's being blocked by Earth's curvature.
No, it's not blocked by Earth's curve. It simply has no angle, not an insufficient angle over the 3-foot waves to see that 5-foot wave that's another mile beyond. There's not enough size that the one that's 3 miles beyond, or a mile beyond the 3-foot waves, is not gonna. It's gonna be, obviously, because it's further. It's gonna be even more compressed, and the angle over those 3-foot waves is insufficient to see that 5-foot wave farther in the distance. It's a matter of optics, that's all.
You're in your example, you're describing something that's being completely obstructed. I was asking
not obstructed. It's simply too small to resolve as separate Rayleigh criterion.
I was asking about objects that are partially obstructed by the horizon, not completely obstructed.
They're just further. They're just far past that horizon. That's all. And you have an optical limit of elevation.
You're saying that bottoms of objects are further than the tops of objects. That makes
yes. I have a video with a ship with a red bottom and turbines in the same video that have yellow bottoms.
That makes no sense. All right. If I was looking at a building. If I'm looking at the bottom of that building and I switch my view and look at the top of that building, which line is going to be longer? The one drawn from me looking straight at the bottom of the building, or me looking at a diagonal view to the top of the building? Which one of those is longer? You're claiming
how close are you to the building?
It doesn't matter.
Actually, the one to the top would be longer, yes.
So that contradicts what you said. You said that things...
Not at all.
Things that are straight ahead of us are further away than things that are higher up. That doesn't make any sense.
Okay, I'm going to wipe out your argument right now. You're standing next to a building. Okay, you're about 10 feet away. You're looking at the bottom story. You can't, if you look up, let's say it's a 20-story building. You're looking up. It foreshortens, doesn't it, to the top? Your angles to the top stories will be compressed into a very small area, if you can even see them after a certain point, as separate from the other stories because of foreshortening.
Why would the tops of the building be compressed?
Because the information is compressed into a small space because of foreshortening effects. You have insufficient angle to the surface.
Well, that isn't true. The building is going to shrink uniformly. It's not going to get smaller.
No. We're talking about standing next to it, but the longer line is to where?
The longer line is to the top of the building.
Yes. Now, as you move away, what happens?
As you move away,
you're already close. You're right there at the bottom already. So what's going to happen with the visual angles to that bottom section compared to the top section as you move away?
Nothing's going to happen. It's still going to be...
your angle's completely changed.
Is still going to be
a wider angle
regardless of how far away you are.
So the separate stories at the top that you couldn't resolve when you were close to the building, as you move away, you can actually see them because you have a wider angle. Even though everything is shrinking as you move away, because you were close to the bottom in the first place, the thing closest shrinks the fastest in your visual field because of a parallax effect. That's a parallax effect.
That isn't true.
Faster.
I know.
So that bottom part
that
will shrink.
True,
I haven't finished explaining. You said I was a coward, but here I'm talking to you and telling you exactly what happens, and you don't want to listen. So anyhow, that bottom part will shrink faster because, and the top, the whole top part of the building, you will start to actually see more because you're moving farther away. You get a wider angle to each story. So each story is, while it's simultaneously getting a wider angle to it, you're also moving away, so it does shrink, but it's not at the uniform rate. I've got videos on this. My rubber band videos show this. Of course, everybody hates my rubber band videos, even though all they do is demonstrate how this works exactly like I'm talking to you now. It demonstrates.
I'm not going to agree with this because this is not factual.
Of course not.
What you're saying right now.
Of course not. It is factual.
You're not allowed to make a point. You spoke for 2 minutes and Pope haven't spoken.
Yeah, this is not factual. Ask anybody on Earth. Things shrink uniformly the further away you get from them.
No, they don't.
They don't get smaller at the bottom than they do at the top.
They don't shrink uniformly. You have various angles to various stories.
You're the only person on Earth that seems to think that. Nobody else thinks that.
Oh, no, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Well, except for flat Earth retards. But
no,
you guys are not. You guys are not the majority.
It doesn't matter. Well, yeah, let's go back
So
to the
does
boat
anybody else
steering
agree
bottom
with that?
first.
Do objects get smaller at the bottom? Except for Stingray, he seems to think that, but I'm asking everybody else now. Does everybody else think that objects get smaller from the bottom than they do from the top when we move away from them? Of course not.
Of course not.
It depends on your elevation to that object.
It doesn't
and
depend
how
on
they shrink.
anything. It never happens.
You have completely different angles. If you're standing at the 10-foot section, let's say you're 10 foot tall and you're looking straight across at the 10-foot first story, right? You move away from the building. That first one, because you're close to it, will change rapidly, and the angle will get smaller and smaller very quickly. Now, your angle to the top, well, you'll see more and more because you're moving away, so you have a wider angle to the whole top. The whole top is always going to be the last thing that reaches that shrinking point to the bottom where it becomes unresolvable, separate from the surface. It has to be because it's higher, it's farther from the surface.
Oh, I thought you were done already. Before you space pop, just want to read a quick comment that I had here. I don't want it to go too far. RT96, $5 super chat. I've proven the Earth is flat, debunking all science many times. Just look at my videos; they have dozens of views. Shout out to
I have way more than dozens of views. I have way more views on most of my videos than I do subscribers.
Gary,
and then we got
them. You guys watch them.
Thurs also support the channel with like $9. Thank you, Thurs, for hitting me up on PayPal.
Yeah.
You're a little bit short this week. Got my bills made.
Well,
Don't need
I didn't want you to tell me that, but it doesn't matter. I just want to say to Gary, right? I mean, you're talking about things shrinking from the bottom and then appearing from the top, and it's like these are perspective things that we all learned by the time we were 5 years old. I don't understand how you don't understand this.
I'm sorry that I caught you, but the last point I caught it, Space Pope. He was going to answer.
That's cool, man. Yeah.
And then shout out to Stingray after Space Pope and Gary. Maybe Stingray want to comment because he was summoned. Go ahead, Space Pope.
Right. Just like I said, I'm not going to agree with something if it's not true. What you're saying is not true. Things shrink uniformly.
Angles matter.
Perspective
you don't have equal angles from wherever your elevation is compared to the thing you're observing. You don't have equal angles to all points of that object. You don't. You simply don't.
All right. So
you can slice it in horizontal slices and measure the angles to all the different things. They're all different.
That isn't how perspective works.
That is how perspective works. Everything about perspective
objects are not divided into segments where certain segments shrink faster than other segments. That is not how perspective works.
I've got the video that we played on Jose's show. It's got a ship with a red bottom, a red
why don't you play that? Why don't you play that
and
video?
And then the turbines
right
are
now.
yellow.
Why don't you play that video right now?
As the zoom backs off, the first thing you can't see is that red bottom and the yellow bottoms because the field of view is increasing, which means your information has to be put into a much smaller area, which means that you're going to things that are touching the surface are going to become unresolvable before the top.
Okay, rather than just talking about your video, why don't you present your video right now so we can look at exactly what you're talking about?
Jose can play it.
Hold on a second.
Can I?
Here, I'll go get it and I'll link it in the thing.
Yeah,
I've got 3 or 4 of them.
While you get that, Stingray, go ahead.
Yes, so I want to know what I believe in. Now I can see what Gary's saying. I can see what Space Pope's saying. You're both actually correct, but you're talking about 2 very different things. Now the way that Gary's correct is if you imagine the following scenario: we have a 1 meter cube, and it is very close to us, and our angle is pretty much straight on, let's say. And then we've got a cube, a 1 meter cube, same dimensions, about 400 foot up. Obviously, the one above is going to be smaller. Now, when we move backwards away at a constant rate, our distance proportionally increases at a greater fraction to the ones at the bottom than it would at the top because we're already a great distance away from it. So when I say things, things shrink at different rates that are part of the same structure, that's what I mean. I don't mean anything in contradiction to the laws of perspective. That is perspective.
Right, and the further away you move from those cubes, it's going to get to a point where they're going to be the same size. It's never going to...
Yeah, very true. Absolutely. No,
not the different distances. That'll never happen.
Gary, because of the different rate and the fractional relationship between you increasing the distance... What Space Pope said was exactly true, because if you imagine, if you're 10 feet away from that bottom cube and you move 20 feet, guess what? It's halved in size. Now imagine the top cube was 100 feet away, so it's already small, but you've only moved 10 feet away. You've only decreased it by a factor of 0.1. Now, if you get to such a distance that the difference in height doesn't make a fucking blind bit of sense, then yes, they will appear to be the same size.
But they aren't the same size, and you know that.
I'd like to say
It
something.
won't. If you could actually measure it, you know they're not the same.
Well, the point that
Stingray
Stingray was making is that there's never going to be a point where the bottom cube is going to appear smaller than the top cube. That's never.
Oh, absolutely, there would be, but you're not measuring it. He's just saying they appear. You notice he used precise words. They will appear. Yes, because the change in the distance is very small.
They wouldn't even. That wouldn't even appear
just
to
like
happen.
a car driving away from you.
That wouldn't even appear to happen as long as the bottom cube is closer.
It
to
does
you,
happen. It isn't going to be the same size based on visual angles.
I don't know what you're all arguing about. This is all
same.
bullshit about fucking
if we don't let
cubes here and there,
Terrence make his point, he's gonna keep interrupting. Terrence, make your point so you can go back and mute.
Okay, like at 5-year-old, right? When somebody throws a ball at you, you catch it. It's small when it's far away, and it gets bigger when it comes close to you, and you can adjust for that. Your brain starts, and you get better at it as you get older. Perspective is a thing that you learn. It's not a thing that's written in fucking, well, it can be for engineers, but as a normal human being, as a baby, you start to learn about things being thrown at you.
You can mute yourself now.
Hey, may I ask Stingray a question? Pope couldn't answer.
No, wait. Before you ask the question, I wanted to point that Larry is a blatant liar. He left on my account more than one time. I'm sure he left on the account of Doofus and others as well. So he's a liar. Don't tell I leave for no one. You do, Gary.
Thank you, Cheeky.
Playing in the video in the background is Gary's video. Right now he's playing in the background. That is not me. It's not my footage. I have nothing to do with this book.
No, the footage actually came from a video with Dr. John D, which I know you guys say isn't a doctor, but then I'll just point out that you have Professor Dave, who's not a professor.
Yeah, Gary, you had a question.
Well, I have a question for Gary.
I think we all do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just looked at the video. The bottom portion of that boat is not the same size as the top of the boat. The bottom of the boat is not the same size, Gary. It's smaller.
I had a question for Gary.
This video shows how you can take a slice at the bottom because you have angles to all parts of the boat. You guys think the whole boat has to shrink to a point. No, it doesn't. You could have
the bottom looks like it's
to a point where you can't resolve it
because it's
from the
a smaller
surface, which is
portion
the
of the
Rayleigh
boat.
criterion effect, where you surpass the limit. That's what you're seeing.
I had a question for Gary. I was trying to be polite.
Sorry.
One second. Of course, it's gonna look smaller because it's smaller than the rest of the boat. I mean,
yes.
How can you not understand this?
You're catching on.
No, that makes sense on the globe, dude. That doesn't make sense in your model.
Well, it's not disappearing because of curve, because he had the camera zoomed in on it, so it has nothing to do with curve. So nice try, but try again.
But the whole of the boat is getting small. It's not like the bottom part is getting small.
Yes, the whole hole is getting smaller.
The whole boat is getting smaller.
But that section at the bottom became too small to resolve before the rest of the boat, all the way to the top. And so it simply became too small to resolve. And
that doesn't mean that the bottom is that does not mean that the bottom is getting smaller than the top of the boat. No.
It came too small. The angle to that section, you have an angle to the bottom of that red section on the boat and the top of that red section. You have angles there. You take a line from the top of that section to the bottom of that section, touching the water, draw it to your eyes. As it becomes too small, you surpass the Rayleigh criterion, and you can no longer resolve it as separate from the water line, which is closer because you're close to the surface.
Of course, the bottom half is going to get smaller. When you're looking at a tiny strip on the boat, it's going to get too small.
Rayleigh criterion, you surpassed it. Its angles, compression, that angle compresses the point where you can't resolve it as separate from the water.
No,
and
this is not
had nothing to do with the curve. Get it.
This is not analogous to the observations we have seen
It's what we
of
see all
boats
the
being
time.
obstructed by the horizon. No, this is not what we
It's
see
not
all the time. We
obstructed.
see
Was that red
images.
bottom
We
obstructed?
see images of boats being zoomed in on.
Was that
Photographs of
red
boats.
bottom
Photographs of
obstructed?
boats that have been zoomed in on
Was
that
that
still
red
show
bottom
obstruction. How does that
obstructed?
happen, Gary? How can we zoom
Was that
in and
red
still have?
bottom
How can we
obstructed?
zoom in and still have obstruction happening? If you're
Well, you
claiming
zoomed
that
in
this
on
is happening,
this, John D zoomed in on this boat, and you could see it.
no, he
If
didn't.
you
This
can't
is
see one
zooming.
that's
This is
further, it's
zooming
because
out.
it's too far for the angle
Yeah,
and
this
too
is zoomed out, yeah.
far for the whatever
Yeah, but
you're
you're not.
using.
What
Your
about
eyes
the
or a
photos we've
telescope
seen?
or whatever.
What about the
angle is too
photos?
narrow to
He
resolve.
What
doesn't wanna
about the
look that
photos?
bad.
You can keep talking over me. What about the photos we've seen that are zoomed in on boats that still show obstruction? What about those
All
Yes,
he
photos?
because
wants-
your
all
elevation
all
over
Gary
the
wants to
surface is
talk
too low.
about
The
is
angle is
about
too
that,
narrow to resolve.
about that little middle point as is magnifying, like as it's coming in and out, where you got this the optics, doing all these tricks. That's what he wanted to look at.
That's ridiculous. So how we're looking at something that's so far away, we're not even zoomed in on it. I've
The
seen
boat was, I
I've
think,
seen
11 or 12
photographs of
miles
people
away.
zoomed in on objects that still show obstruction.
It's not obstruction. It's simply the limits of your elevation over the surface.
It's not obstructed when it's fully zoomed in.
Well, was that red bottom obstructed?
No, it was
No, because
optically
you're
not
moving
visible.
away
It was
from
not
it.
visible
That's
optical
right,
because
it
it
wasn't.
wasn't. You weren't zoom in. We're talking about now when you are all the way zoom in. That's when
and
you
if
want to touch
zoomed in
document with a
boat
10-foot
kept going
pole, right?
away, what would happen to that
You don't
red
want to
strip at
touch
the bottom?
You don't want to touch at a clear image when it's already all zoomed in and the bottom is missing. You don't want to touch that.
Jose, if he was zoomed in, when he zoomed in, you could see that red portion at the bottom.
So
right?
you didn't answer my question. You don't want to touch a photo of the
I'm
boat that is
answering your
already.
question, but you're too chicken to
I'm
listen
still
to
asking
it.
it.
No,
No,
wait,
You're
hold on.
afraid
the
of
two
the
times that I
answer.
attempted, you interrupted.
See, I
You
answer
don't
your
wanna
guys'
see-
questions, and
so you
yet I
wanna
get
see at a-
Jose screaming
You don't
like
want
a
to see at a
banshee.
picture on an image of a boat that is already obstructed, already zoomed in, right?
Yeah, why isn't that happening with those other images? Why aren't we seeing more of the boats when we're zooming in? You're saying John D saw more of the boat when he zoomed in. How come those other guys that zoomed in didn't have the same thing happen?
Because their angle is not sufficient for the optics they're using.
How
That's
do you
what I
know
tried
that?
to tell you, but you
How
don't
do you-
want to
how do you
listen.
know
You
that?
just
How do
want
you
to
know
yell
that?
and scream like a bunch of crazy.
How do you know that their
You guys are
angle was not
insane.
sufficient? How do you know that?
Well, it's the same way with the zoom. You get the same effect by going away from something, moving towards something, going up,
You're
going
literally
down.
just making claims without knowing.
When you
You're
go up,
literally
it gives
not-
you a similar visual effect as moving closer. If you go
You're
down, it
literally
gives you
making
the same,
claims without
visual
any
effect as
data.
moving
You
further
don't
away.
know what the person's observation height was. You don't know any of that data.
Oh,
Yet you're
he
going to
was
make
there- he
claims
was
that
standing
you
right
know
there
what's
by
going
the
on.
water. He was right by the water. He was just a few feet above the water.
I'm
And
not
the boat
talking
was
about
12
this
miles
video.
away,
I
by
was
the way.
referring to the
11 or 12 miles
other
away.
videos that show obstruction. You don't know any of that data. You can't.
Okay,
you
and then
can't
I'm going to get back
disregard any of that.
because Jose wanted an answer, but he didn't want to hear the answer. But I'm going to tell it right now, anyhow. If that boat, when he was zoomed in on it, let's say that boat kept moving away, what would happen to that red strip?
What will happen to the whole boat? He appears to get.
Well, what would
smaller
happen to that
uniformly.
red strip? We're talking about an
trying to-
angle
I'm
from that
answering.
top of that
I'm
red strip
answering.
to the bottom of the red strip.
I'm
Jose. What
answering.
would happen? You
I
don't
am
want to answer the
answering.
question.
I'm going to answer if you don't interrupt me. What happens there is that the whole boat will just appear to get smaller uniformly. That's my answer.
And no, it won't. The red portion will become unresolved
Yes.
for the rest of the boat.
It
It's
doesn't
all
matter what
shrinking.
color it is. It could be blue, it could be red, it could be yellow.
That's right. It could be any of those colors. The only reason I point out that red strip is because it gives you a visual that you can actually see. And if it was all gray, it would be hard to notice this effect. But because it does have a red stripe and the turbines have a yellow stripe, you have a visual, you have a reference point to look at that can make you understand what's going on. And if that boat simply moved further away while he was zoomed in, you would get the same visual effect as if when he backed off the zoom. That part would become smaller and smaller because it's moving away. The angle would become more and more narrow until you couldn't resolve that red part again.
All right,
It's just a
perfect.
matter
Now
of
for the
angles.
audience,
That's
now
all.
Because we need to engage.
Then you
with
would
the
claim
audience.
it's beyond the
I don't know-
curvature again.
I don't know if you're watching my screen share, but for the audience,
I'm not
we
because
are-
I'll lose
you're
my
not.
connection.
Okay. All right. We got an image over here, and we can see three big vessels on some kind of a land in the back. Let's go ahead and go a little closer, a little bit. There you go. It's a little closer. All right. We start seeing more. We see probably the whole vessel in the middle, like maybe the whole vessel in the right, and definitely not the whole vessel in the left. What will happen as they keep zooming in? What will happen? Are we going to see more?
Depends
Are
on
we
your
going to see the
elevation.
bottom? Are we gonna see the bottom of
It
that
depends
left
on how
vessel?
far it is compared to your elevation.
Yeah, we're gonna see the one in the left all the way down.
Everything depends on your elevation and how far it is for the angle. It all depends on that. It's
right.
different for each thing. If you're higher, you can see further. If you're lower, you see it'll disappear in less time, in shorter distance.
No, I got it. I got the answer for you. Whatever you say, man. Okay.
Well, it is. Yeah, that's a good answer. Thank you.
Yeah, whatever you say.
Well, I have a question for Gary, but Wesley Snipes was before me.
Nestle wipes.
White? It's Nestle.
I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes and then I'm leaving because I've got to go make my dinner. I haven't eaten in 24 hours, so.
Now you see
I'm
the
starving.
clarity. You guys all see the clarity, right? With this video that I'm sharing right now, right? I mean, we all see the detail, the clarity. Let's see a video that Chris Berry want to share.
Hey, can I
What's going
say
on
one
here?
more thing about that
This is
ship
not
in that
clear.
video?
Go ahead.
When he backed completely off the Zoom, you couldn't even see the ship anymore. It had nothing to do with curvature.
Thank you, Gary. Appreciate it.
Wow, when you zoom away from things, they get smaller. Wow,
But to the
nobody
point
knew
where
that.
you can't resolve them. That ship was 11 miles
all of us
out.
didn't know. We didn't know that until you mentioned it. None of
Well,
us. Knew
you
that.
guys would say if we were standing on the shore without a zoom camera, you would say, "Oh, the boat went over the curvature."
Okay, now I got a quick comment in what's being presented for the audience. This is Chris Berry's video footage. I don't know who content creator. I don't care. Chris Berry uploaded this as for some kind of explanation or evidence of what we're talking about, and this is what I presented earlier from just a normal person that liked the topic. And Chris Berry is also a normal person, but which one will I go with? This one that is showing all kinds of mirage and wishy-washy bullshit that I could not determine anything? Will I go with this that is very clear and is easier to determine what's going on? Oh, definitely 100% all day long with this one.
Chris Berry's not a normal person.
And you go
Damn,
with
Chris
the
Berry
mirage.
is smarter than any of you.
You go with the mirage. Jose, before Gary disappears, can you go to his video to the beginning, somewhere in the beginning, we can see the boat zoomed in?
Yeah, 1 second. Let me play this timestamp that Chris Berry say 24:30. All right, here, right now. There you go. I don't even know what, you know.
That's actually what Gary was on about with the building. They're all on about the surface that is the surface of the Earth rather than an object that is facing you. The two are very, very different when they're moving away.
Yeah, Jose, can you go
No,
to
they don't.
Gary?
It's still a surface, so it has the same visual effects with angles.
Okay.
Surface. It doesn't matter if it's vertical or just parallel to your line of sight or whatever. Doesn't matter. Anything where you have an angle that becomes acute to a surface, you get foreshortening, whether it's up or out.
We got your
Gary,
video
what's
up,
up?
Gary.
I get the point that Chris Berry's trying to make.
Space, I'm trying to talk. Come on, you had your time.
I go ahead, talk, Chaiki, since it's so important for you to talk. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
well, yeah, you had your time. Thank you.
All right.
So we have
Watch
the
out,
boat.
Mikey's a grumpy guy.
You have the boat.
All right, we got
see
your
the-
video, Gary. We're trying to talk about your video, man. Why are you cock blocking like that, man?
Yeah. Wait, do you see the bridge windows?
Yeah, they become too small to resolve too.
Wait. Do you see the bridge windows?
No, I'm not watching it right now, but I know what you're talking about.
You know. So, Jose, can you go to 157, let's say?
Jose? Jose?
he thought he can go.
Yeah, I think we lost Jose.
Well, at 157, I can see the red part of the ship quite well, but I can't see the windows. So which part is becoming unresolvable first?
The Rayleigh criterion affects are.
I see
I'm answering your question, but you don't like the answer.
Clearly.
This is what you do. That's why I don't talk to you,
see
Chaiki.
the bottom
I'm done with you
clearly,
already,
Gary.
Chaiki. You can't keep your mouth shut. You got
Gary,
too much of a temper.
I see the bottom clearly, and the top, the window.
Yes, because let's say you take the top of the window, Chaiki, and the bottom of the window, and you draw lines of 10 to your eyes. Does that get smaller with distance too?
Mm-hmm.
Does
But I
the
can
angle
see
to
the
the
bottom.
surface is the angle to the from your eyes to the windows the same as your angle to the eye to the that section at the bottom compared to the surface.
Right.
Which one has the narrow
Measuring angles now to different
angles matter.
size
But you've been
objects.
arguing all night, Gary, that
So
the
when
angles aren't
You get rid of the criterion affecting every portion of the ship,
have
Taiki.
control. Have
Every
control.
single portion as
So
it gets smaller.
when did you
Like
measure?
license plates on the back of a car moving away from you.
When was it that you measured, Gary, the angle to the top section with your rubber bands to be greater than the angle to the bottom section?
Is my angle above, okay, let's take my angle to the bottom of the building, the first story of the bottom of the building, the angle would be from there to my eyes and to the bottom to the surface, right? The angle to the top of the building would be to the angle from the top of the building to the ground, the same way. Which angle is going to be too small to resolve first?
Section we talk now because
you got 7 seconds. Oh wait,
I showed you the things that unresolvable.
Hey, I gotta go. I said 5 minutes. I set my clock. I'll be back another day. I'm not running away, but I am.
You're running away, Gary.
That was the most pertinent point of the day. This was directly addressing your video, Gary, and you just ran away, man. You just ran. I know you wondered about the 5 minutes, but you could take the 1 minute to talk to Chaik, and you decided that 1 minute, instead of talking to him, you decided you just talk over him and interrupting and disrupt the flow because you were scared of what the point that Chaik was going to make, and that's the round up of this conversation.
How's that for a taste of your own medicine? I didn't run away when you were talking over me.
Yeah,
Gary, you jackass.
Man. I'm about to get out of here. Something showed up. We're gonna do a quick round of final thoughts and get out of here. And hopefully we'll do the moon day tomorrow.
Can I go first? Because I gotta get out of here right now.
Go for it, man. Go for it, yeah.
I'm gonna address Chris Berry's video. He showed someone moving a sheet of acetate paper over a table or something like that. That's not analogous to the obstruction that we see in reality. It's the same thing that Jeremy at Geos likes to talk about regularly, which is a chessboard. Why can't we see the chessboard, the squares on the furthest end of the chessboard, but we can see the ones that are close to us? All of that is happening on the surface. But if we were to put pieces on that chessboard, we wouldn't see bottom-up obstruction. So you need to provide examples that are analogous to what we're asking for, because none of the stuff you're showing is. Space Pope out.
Thank you, Borodian. Big Blue, final thoughts.
Oh, time for final thoughts? Oh, good.
Sure.
Well, I'd like for Gary to explain to me how the top 10 feet of a 20-story building, let's say, could ever have a greater angular size than the bottom 10 feet of that 20-story building, especially stood away from it, say, a few miles. It just absolutely can't happen, and that's what Gary can't deal with. In fact, the top of the building ought to be disappearing, ought to be becoming unresolvable before the bottom ever does. And that's about all I've got to say about that. Thanks, Jose.
Thank you, Blue. Appreciate it. Bogoff. Carl K, you there? Chaik.
Well, I'm glad the Turtles have won because I voted Turtles. I used to like Turtles very much. And I have a question for Blue. Don't know if you can answer now. Is why did you discourage Brian Leakey from go digging near LIGO? Why? Why did you discourage him? I wanted to see him dig.
Yeah. Bring your machinery and shit. The heavy duty machinery and start digging next to LIGO.
They'd have came out and arrested his ass and put
Final thoughts, sirs. Go ahead. Final thoughts.
What, me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. My final thoughts are, no change. Flat Earth doesn't know nothing, and the curved Earth knows less. And I'm sure there's some other Earth things that I never heard of that were even worse. You know what I mean? Sounds about.
I thank you, man. Appreciate it. Doofus, final thoughts.
Shaiki was onto a very good point there. Blue reiterated it, and I guess I'll do it too. The video that Gary had, where the bridge windows were becoming unresolvable first and not the bottom of the ship, really did hurt Gary's argument.
Yeah.
In addition, the thing that you're showing right now, we can see things that are of a much smaller angular size than the much larger portion that we can't see on that distant ship. So clearly it's not about angles here, because we can look at things that are a much smaller angle, and the much larger piece that's missing is still gone. Also, to pull it back to that concave Earth discussion earlier, concave Earth requires light bend upward through a mechanism that you cannot test. It's unfalsifiable. So that's fun. Thanks.
Boom, Doofus. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Farmer's Boy in the house.
What an incredible amount of dirt we've listened to today. And as usual, it's all bollocks. The Earth isn't flat, hasn't been, won't be. But for some bizarre reason, Gary needs it to be flat. I don't know. It's maybe I'm just getting too tired to put up with this bullshit. But thank you very much anyway, Jose. It's been entertaining.
Derpy. Thank you, farmers. Appreciate
Very
it.
derpy.
We have Pronon. Pronon, how about bacon? I don't know how much you listen, but final thoughts.
Oh, I just got here. But
Final
I
thoughts,
agree with
message for
Doofus.
the audience. Yeah, any message for the audience?
I can tell the audience you can listen to Doofus then.
Thank you. Snestley wipes. Nestle, you were getting mad earlier. You tried to make a point.
Yeah, good night.
Thank you, man. And the Stingray. You were summoned and you showed up.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, I just randomly joined. I didn't realize there was something. I tell a lie. I was listening to the show a little bit, and you said something that was utter bullshit. So I thought I'm going to come on and argue with Jose. But then by the time I'd got here, the conversation had moved on like 2 minutes, so I couldn't exactly argue with you. What were you saying? You were saying something like, oh, you didn't like, so black holes, that was it.
Oh,
you know, there's not enough to believe in black holes and stuff. And that's not really, I mean, it's not a strong argument, because if someone comes up to you and says, hey, I'm a heart surgeon, I think you've got aortic arrhythmia, we need to have an operation, and you've got 4 other doctors that study this shit for 20, 30 fucking years saying the same thing. Are you going to go, well, I've not seen it and I don't quite buy it, I don't quite understand it, I'm not going to trust it? You've got to work on the probability that these people know what they're on about. And if they did not, people, by nature of being people, would point that out just to big themselves up. So you've got to work on the probability that intelligent people that study it for a long time can actually have some authority in the subject. And that's what I was coming on to say. But really quickly, I just want to say to Gary, and any flat earther that believes the earth is flat and wants to deal with horizons and shit like that. Now, if you walk in a corridor and you put your eye level on the top of the door, every door on that corridor will line up in a line because they are all at that height. They will move away down the center line of your vision or camera lens or whatever. That is just the law of perspective right there. What you need to do is plant yourself on a shoreline at the same height as the pilot house of a vessel that's going to go away. And then explain to me how that vessel's pilot house diverges away from that line and goes down exactly at the rate we would expect on a curved surface. Cheers.
Thank you very much, Stingray. I don't disagree with the point you made about the experts and knowing stuff, but I have to disagree 100%, and everybody else will also disagree that that's the wrong analogy, because a heart surgeon is being opening hearts, it's been touching hearts, it's been seeing, tasting, smelling, and eating hearts at home. And a black hole was just seen recently, the past 2 or 3 years, that there was the first ever image compiled by a bunch of hundreds of people that put this pixel together, and they came up with the kind of what a black hole looks like. Totally wrong analogy, something physical, tangible, palpable versus something way out there that nobody knows unless you are in that group of a few hundred people.
I'll be back on and we can discuss that later, Jose.
Thank you very much. I would like that very much. Ladies and gentlemen, let me turn on my camera for the audience over here. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Let's do one last spin to the squeaky earth. Jose JG out. Boom. Let's go home. Thank you.